Welcome in one and all to your Night Battle Hub for today's EU qualifiers. It's the second qualifier. We saw A3 and Snow qualify last week. This week, who are we going to find out? I'm Digital Bacon, joined by Caleb. And Caleb, how are you feeling today? I know it's probably a little bit early in the day for you over in NA, right?
Yes, which is not too bad for me. I know you all stay up way earlier, I should say, on the end of a lot of these NA qualifiers. But excited to be here. Was here 2 days ago, right after the new patch, and it's still a pretty fresh patch. So excited to see what EU is going to bring to the table today.
Yeah, like I said, we got A3 and Snow qualified last week. We didn't host NA last week. You know, they were naughty children. They didn't turn up for their event, but they came in spades on Tuesday this week. As a result, Fluffy Nemesis got their spot from winning that, and we have also kind of awarded, let's say, Dark E Kittens for finishing second, that spot which had originally been from the first qualifier. Just waiting for them to respond and, well, accept that spot. So there's still 5 on the table, 1 from today here, Caleb, and then the 4 from the last chance qualifiers on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we've got the main event. So it's all coming to a head pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up by really quick, and big congrats to Dark Ekins as well for getting that second spot in NA. They definitely put on a show, beating one Worlds qualified team and then almost beating the other one, which is Fluffy Nemesis in that final. So very excited to see them put on a show as well Sunday, hopefully, as long as they want to do it, which I can't imagine them not wanting to. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good one. This is going to be our last qualifier before that LCQ, like you said. So looking forward to seeing these EU teams battle it out. And what I'm really curious about seeing is some of these, picks, especially after the update, how they're going to perform. And if, what we saw 2 days ago was kind of more of a fluke, or certain things that maybe didn't pan out to plan are actually good. Like Charizard looked a little bit underwhelming at times, and some other picks as well looked better, even though they were nerfed. Like Cranmer looks still pretty strong, even though it got its Unite move nerfed as well. So curious to see how much of that will come into factor.
That was
today.
the interesting thing, right? Cranmer technically also had that shadow buff. We allowed it to be played on Tuesday, but when using dive, it got iframes. Now it's just back to unstoppable. So, it's been fixed. The phalanx bug has also been fixed. So we should be seeing Phalanx once again today. It's only EX Pokemon that have been banned for this one. So that's pretty much, standard UCS rule sets. We do know there are other bugs with different Pokemon, whatnot. Word of advice, just ban them. We've got 4 bans in the game. We're probably in one of the most wide open metas at the moment, I would say. Over time, everything's kind of been sort of really well balanced. There are still going to be stronger Pokemon, that's always going to be in nature of it, the flavor of the month. We'll see bans like bans and buffs, throughout the days. And one of these buffs, which I'm kind of surprised we didn't see even more of on Tuesday, was Delphox, right? Now getting such near enough a rapid increase to its utility via reduction of 2 cooldowns by 1 second. I was expecting Delphox to be really in the mix, especially when, say, Fire Spin is such a great utility move. You throw it into some grass and then it will follow them, thus giving you information whether a Pokemon is hiding there, leaving your Fire Blast, or personally for me, Mystical Fire, to be able to deal a lot of mid-range damage.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of Delphox not being banned, so it actually got picked up a decent amount throughout our North America qualifier earlier this week. So curious to see if that makes a ban list, or, a few other things too, because it seems like it's a good problem to have, right? But there's so many viable Pokemon these days that you can't ban them all, and you can't pick them all either. But I agree with you. I think Delphox, especially after that buff, has fantastic crowd control with that Fire Spin moveset, and could definitely be annoying to deal with. It kind of has one of those Pokemon where, like, you don't really see it doing too much, but then you look at the end damage charts and it's like #1 the damage charts for the team, right? Because they're just sneakily blending in some of that damage throughout the team fights too. So we're gonna have to see, but I think a lot of people are focusing a lot on those defenders and frontline Pokemon on those bans. We saw a lot of bans of Slowbro, Urshifu as well after those buffs. Urshifu did look pretty strong, so it didn't look unstoppable, but it did look pretty strong in this patch. So the buffs definitely did not let the Urshifu lovers down. But I'm excited to see any spice we might see here today in EU. I know in North America we saw some Cinderace, we saw some Gyarados action, two of my favorite Pokemon. So I was pretty happy with the results there. But we'll see if we'll see any spice on the EU side.
We also saw a lot Greninja in NA, didn't we?
Yes.
Which was a bit of a weird one. I want to point out Muck for playing them quite often, you know, from the Ekins getting second place. So maybe it is just that sort of hold down A presser Ripper is now coming back into the fold. We're not seeing, you know, triple tanks. We do see a fair bit of double tanks still, but we'll have to see. There also feels a little bit like we're carrying over the very end of the last patch where supports aren't necessarily a requirement. You know, a lot of teams are running the Umbreon with Wish in that support kind of slot, right? So there's a lot of openness. Hooper, though, has still continued to be one of the big front runners. You can see Aki currently hovering them. It is kind of one of those, do you leave it unbanned purely because your Pokemon like Blaziken, Umbreon, Leafeon are super strong at the moment?
Yeah, I haven't seen a Hoopa ban in a hot minute, and I think, you know, part of it's just there's just so many other priority picks here too. We see the Umbreon, Slowbro ban, Leafeon, Blaziken, pretty expected bans, I would say overall. But you know, like you said, it just leaves certain really strong support Pokemon like Hoopa on the table. You can see Hoopa first pick for Plus Ultra over here. And Pargo's going to try to respond. I mean, speaking of support picks, we even saw a Machamp support pick the other day. So really, if you got EXP share, you can run mostly anything in that support role. So we're going to have to see how that goes. Where Crustal's going to be locked in on the side of Party Girls, and then Sylveon as well. Sylveon's another Pokemon, even though it got slight nerf, it still looks pretty good. It still looks very strong, right? And you have that range to really just chip down from distance, kind of like that Delphox as well too, right? Just kind of sneaking up on the damage charge there by just constantly providing some consistent damage.
Consistency is always good, and looking at that build, the use of items, that for me is for sure a Mystical Fire set. I was going to say earlier, we're currently in a very mid-range damage sort of meta at the front, you know, with your Cramorants, with your Delphox, but long range, you're in Inteleons, because that should still be a snipe shot. Inteleon Liquidation still wasn't realistically the one to go for. You know, Glaceon kind of still outdoes it very slightly. On the opposite side, Gyarados, Cramorant, I mean, this is pretty much normal meta right now. And looking at those picks, they kind of don't need the support like we were talking about. So Mimikyu might come into play here, but Todoroki is hovering the Urshifu, and we know getting into the back lines near enough trying to beat up that Cramorant is a big high-value target at the moment.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Mimikyu played out earlier this week as well too. It looks very strong in the right situations in this patch too, especially in draft mode. Just being able to mitigate a lot of that damage by with the play with me and play Russ as well. So gonna have to see how that goes for the teams, but looks a little bit standard in some ways, but excited to see how these teams are going to play out. We do see a Charizard picked up from Plus Ultra, and like I mentioned earlier, it was a little underwhelming at times, but sometimes it could be the pilot, not car, in those situations too. It was a buff for Fire Punch and Flare Blitz, but we just saw a decent amount of Flamethrower or Fire Blast instead. And I wonder if that might have been the mistake that players made, but we'll see. They've had a few more days to test out these team comps and put it to good use.
We also saw, I think, one player was running the Fire Punch Flamethrower combo, and it's because Fire Punch, with its little bit of knock-up, right, it's like 0.4 seconds, plus it also reduces the amount of defense on the opposition, can maybe, you know, lend itself to be a bit of an engager as Pokemon go, especially in later stages. You know, get a Fire Punch in, then get the Flamethrower on them, wait a little bit, then use the Unite move to kind of have this tumbling effect of just damage, really slowing down what the opponents do. But as you put rightfully so, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, just the area coverage, that denial, throwing a Fire Blast into some grass onto a goal is such great utility, and we see that be the reason why you would say mainly pick, say, your Gardevoir, your Delphox, for those Unite moves, which can cover such a large area and deny the opposition from walking into it.
Definitely. So we have that Mimikyu in that jungle side for Plus Ultra. You see Aki on this Koopa already going for early invade. Snorlax as well joining in the fray. But Party Girls is ready. I mean, they got 3, maybe even 4 members here defending this evade. Let's see if they can secure this red buff or not from the Snorlax. Snorlax does have a strong secure and does secure that first red buff. And it's just going to eject back over the wall to not giving the buff back over to Party Girls. So already off to a hot start from Plus Ultra. Super aggressive in this early minute.
Really, really interesting, purely because the Magikarp would be so slow. Whilst, yes, they did get a lot of farm. You can see they're up to 18 AOS energy. They are going to be, you know, quite slow with that farm, allowing a lot more to be divvied up for this purple side. Mimikyu, of course, after its own central area, will be level 5, but it's going to be more about the Inteleon, the Charizard, you know, still a Sobble, still a Charmander. That will be really close to that level 5. Getting those first evolutions, that gives them a massive power buff. That means they can now charge onto the opposition, but this is a beautiful retreat from Party Girls to fall to this orange side.
Yeah, that Magikarp is actually closing in that evolution pretty quickly now, too. Earlier this week, me and Drake, when we were casting, were wondering if it's under or above 2 minutes on the evolutions. And, you know, under 2 minutes is definitely going to be a good start. And looks like this Magikarp might be heading towards that direction themselves, too. But here comes the Snorlax trying to be a pesky nuisance yet again. And Aki on the Hoopa also trying to steal this buff. So super hyper-aggressive play from Plus Ultra. I like this play, too, especially because knowing that the enemy team has a Magikarp, they don't have nearly as much assistance in this early game, so almost playing 5v4 in some respects here, so trying to take advantage of that as much as they can.
Good early pick. Hyperfoy is actually interesting. So in those final moments, the Sylveon must have changed its item set. So, you know, we're getting a little bit of variation. Again, that's looking more towards probably close middle range. You know, it's not all out like the Mystical Fire where you can duck, dodge, dive, and weave a little bit more. You know, truly play dodgeball with all of them. But you're putting down so much consistent damage. And it's also a threat because it's a very obvious area to push your opponents back from.
Definitely. And we can see Snorlax constantly invading here. Pretty much whenever they're alive, they're going to go back over to that enemy jungle. But here, trying to secure some of these birds up. Looks like Plus Ultra got a good chunk of that as we see that Inteleon evolved up to that level 7 here. Gyarados is online on the top side as well. And we're going to see if these players are going to fight for this bottom objective or maybe just go up for that top objective. Looks like Party Girls is kind of deciding, and they might just be giving up this Regice for that top objective, but going for a late steal. Let's see what can happen. No, Mimikyu is going to secure that Regice, and here you see the Crustle running away. Unite move popped from the Sylveon as well, just for a little safety. And Hyper Voice just going to ward off some of that damage. So, you know, both teams playing a little bit more conservatively overall in terms of action, but we got a Charizard on top side and Gyarados on the top side as well. We saw this matchup a few times as well, and, you know, there's not a lot of lockdown for this Gyarados with that Umbreon and that Slowbro being banned out. But if you go toe-to-toe with this Gyarados, with this Charizard, Gyarados is definitely one to do it.
Big change up as well. You're seeing a Trick Hooper. That means they clearly want to be putting not only those shields but the speed buffs onto this Charizard. Charizard staying on top of. They want their Unite move. They're 3/4 of the way through level 8. As soon as they get 9, that Unite will come online. They can throw some up in the air, slam them back down to the ground. Still in the middle of these fights. A goal right here would be able to push them over the line, and that's it. They will have their Unite move. It'd be beautiful to pull that out any moment now. As soon as Plus Ultra push up, but Plus Ultra know that they don't really have a name in this battle. They don't have any skin in the game. They're just going to stay back, focus on that farm, and then probably pivot around that bottom path. They might leave someone stronger, looking at your Gyarados here, on this top path to defend it, but no, they predicted very, very well that everyone's coming crashing on this tier 2 goal.
Yeah, Party Girl's going to be aggressive here, having such a huge advantage. Defenders on the bottom side skirmishing out, so it's going to be a strong 4v4 fight with that Regieleki and saying, you know what, you can take the Regieleki. We're going to take all your farm in the jungle yet again. Grab your buffs, grab all that experience to have a strong lock on this level advantage. Party Girls 135 to 0 points so far, so if you're running any stacking items on Plus Ultra side, you're definitely down bad right now.
But Reggie's going to spawn in a matter of seconds. Charizard needs to get here quick, but Hooper does have the Unite move, so they can pull the entire team down into the fray, and they will do exactly that, properly protecting this Snorlax, bringing them back into the mix, throwing those galactic punches everywhere. But the Sylveon has got great eyes on this Reggie, still trying to utilize their great hyper voice, and it's going to be the Elder Goss instead, the Elder Glock to get the Reggie steal. This Plus Ultra side has contested the bottom Reggie perfectly.
This is definitely what Plus Ultra needs to. Getting points on the board, getting an objective, and they're going to go for a little bit more. Can they get any KOs? Here's the question. Seismic Slam is going to come through, and this Charizard's burning the ground, but not able to take out anyone on the side of Plus Ultra. Plus Ultra going to get out here safely, and this is exactly what they needed. You can see Gyarados level 11 now, Kramer level 11 as well. You got Sylveon ticking as well, definitely getting all your damage carries up as high as possible. You see levels are evening out a bit, and even slightly in the favor of Plus Ultra after a fight, and even the score's looking pretty even too.
3 minutes 40. This is when both teams now start coming up with an idea of how they need to execute the end game. Level-wise, they're pretty much on par with one another. Maybe Plus Ultra with a slight advantage, but Plus Ultra here have got this top tier 1 goal to go for. They're sending Gyarados super early, not even going to be able to get that Dragon Current towards their opposition, as Pykel's pulled back really, really nicely.
And we see the secure going to go over to Plus Ultra. Kramer with the big secure, but a lot of Unite moves are down on the side of Plus Ultra, and Party Girl's going to take advantage of this too. Azure Spy Vision is going to push forward, as well as the rest of the team on Party Girls. Looks like they're just going to realize that Reggie Lecky walk potentially as they get more aggressive towards the end. Oh, maybe looks like they might have caught it just in the last second too. And Party Girls going to take a slight advantage in that fight, even though they didn't get that Reggie Lecky. No points going over to Plus Ultra from that objective. And here we see the Snorlax being beat around a little bit, distracting the rest of the teams so that this Inteleon could get to safety, being a team player.
Yeah, Plus Ultra there probably saw that their farmers just come back online, so they didn't necessarily want to commit to a big fight there. It also leaves that tier 1 goal open for them if they break the raid to then run someone up, you know, towards that tier 1 goal really quickly to be able to score, because these scores right now pretty low, but also very close. Orange side going to be able to get in that Reggie Rock. That's a beautiful boom for them, especially to the Sylveon, Crustle, and Gyarados, who all love a little bit of extra bulk.
And, you know, that pick off on Snorlax was actually pretty crucial there, allowing them to get that red rock effect. In the end, you can see the levels reflecting almost slightly in favor of Plus Ultra, but it is still pretty close. Let's see if this Charizard can tick into that level 13 or not. You can see actually a little bit ways off, but might be called out here too. The Gyarados is going to spot it. Does the Gyarados go for the bounce onto it? No, it's going to bounce to safety instead. Going to play a little bit more conservatively here, not knowing where the rest of the Party Girls team is for this moment in time. But both teams posturing up for a fight, not wanting to initiate it right away. You can see a little poke from the Gyarados here, trying to start the fight a little bit, hitting that Rayquaza. I mean, and looking at both teams, there's a lot of secure on the side. Well, not really a lot of secure on either side, really. You got the Dragon Current from the Gyarados, and, you know, maybe the Snipe Shot from the Inteleon on the other side. So it's going to be kind of probably going to be more for a team fight here rather than a burn. And you can see, speaking of burn, the Crust was getting burned down from the Charizard right away, and the chip damage from these Snipe Shots are really adding up.
But Eldegoss is hidden up in time. That Pollen Puff coming in absolute clutch here. Crustle did go back to base just to reset themselves. Gyarados trying to look for information, but the Mimikyu just waiting to see who they can pick up. Then they'll Shadow Sneak across. Did they find a target? No. That'll pull out of it. A big powerful power nap from the Snorlax. Just try and push back the opposition. Hooper has gone unbound in a ton of damage alongside this Charizard. Inteleon's been caught out by the Cramorant, who's now hunting down the big bear. That is Snorlax. It's only Mimikyu and Hooper left in the fray, and they can't take down the Ray. It's going to be Plus Ultra taking down the big green dragon and looking to secure game 1.
Oh, with only 10 seconds left, there's not enough time to defend. You got a lonely Hooper at this point in time. everyone with full pockets dumping all their points in this last second. You can see getting the maximum value here literally in the final seconds of the match. What a performance for Plus Ultra, especially after that super tough start they had, but it all turned around at that bottom objective.
And it also feels crazy, right? Because points-wise, near enough stacking up, it was also down to the raid. But you're right to point out, winning that bottom objective just gave them a little bit more bulk, gave them a little bit more XP, and a lot more confidence going into that raid fight. They were very calmly collected, pulling back into their own side. Charizard had a great pushed advantage position where they got so much information, being able to see the Gyarados up on top, as well as down, but a couple of members down below. That's when they needed to be talking to the rest of the team, being like, look, Mimikyu, Inteleon, I need you right now. Snipe shot, sneak in. Let's hammer hard onto Tamsin. Don't let that Gyarados be there for the main fight. That's going to be a ton of damage and bulk removed from them. Then we pile and just flank on the rest of the team. But that call didn't come there. There wasn't any sort of direction to that final raid fight for Party Girls.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic execution from Plus Ultra throughout that fight, right? I mean, they were getting poked out a little bit right before that final fight started, but they just stayed composed and found the picks. I was a little worried at first because they were stuck on that Snorlax ultimate Unite move for a while there. It just absorbing all that damage. I thought maybe all that damage went to waste. But no, they just kept powering forward there, and Party Girls just had their backs against the wall, literal walls in the Rayquaza pit until they're picked off. But yeah, fantastic performance from all players from Plus Ultra. You can see Cramorant top damage there as well with that triple knockout in the end.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult going into game 2. I can actually just put, you know, I'm going to take a little look at the chat logs to see if the teams are swapping sides. We have asked them, but of course the way we run it, loser side always gets the pick, like in UCS, which side they want to play on for the following game. Now, we're kind of in the weird case where we've known for a long while that second pick kind of was the strongest side, purely because then whilst you're not getting the first pick, you're getting two big powerful picks, and we normally see within metas that free Pokemon tend to be the priority, and you're also giving away, if you do go for that first pick, what you want really early. Hooper fits into anything, so it's not giving away too much, but at the same time, then that allowed their opposition what I think is Gyarados and Sylveon as first picks, which are mighty powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then picking second to allows you to pick last as well. So you go for that final surprise pick or a counter pick, depending on what you're looking for there too. I mean, we've seen, you know, some teams do this. Team Go-Go actually do this a lot with their carry pick. They just pick a, you know, a random Cinderace or Zeraora or something really spicy in the end that you can't really account for. And by then, you've already locked in your team on the, you know, left side, and that's it. So we're going to have to see, you know, what teams prefer, but I think there is a lot of value in picking second in that regard.
Plus Ultra also did something that I've been advocating for a lot in Unite. They left their support pick for last because Hooper's first up, so that means your support can be whatever you want. Right. It doesn't matter, so pick what you want to be core and foundational to your squad. Now, they had the chance, of course, sorry, it was Crustle, wasn't it? And Sylveon for their first pick. Then third, fourth pick, they went for Gyarados and Cramorant. So they had all their damage, all their defense online, and then it was just a case of, okay, for our support, do we want an Eldegoss to be able to, you know, long range plus Cotton Crash is phenomenal? Do we want maybe a Blissey for the Bliss assistance or just continuous heals? Also, Egg Bomb is phenomenal against Hooper and kind of is an interesting one that they didn't pick that right because we see Egg Bomb being so great for hyperspace holes, but they clearly read that it was going to be a trick Hooper so well to pick the Eldegoss, and that for me is pretty much the decider. There is the support versus support and how they will play up against each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, the Hoopa, generally speaking, has a lot of that mobility and, you know, just send your teams back and forth. But this time around, not able to have that slight advantage going for a different play. Trying to, you know, funnel into that Charizard like you mentioned. But again, you know, Charizard looked a little underwhelming. It looked a strong early game, right? But, you know, you're also matched up against a Magikarp. So once that Magikarp gets going, that Gyarados was looking pretty scary in those engages. And it just felt like toe-to-toe. You couldn't do much. And this was given that there was a Slowbro and an Umbreon ban already, right? So you couldn't get mean looked or slow beam by anything. There was nothing really hard CCing that Charizard. but it still just couldn't get the job done. So I'm just wondering if maybe teams will make that adjustment and say, you know what, maybe we're going to leave Charizard on the bench and see what we can do instead. Try play around a different way too. I mean, there was a few Seismic Slams that did pretty solid damage, but it seemed like a lot of times too, they weren't even enough to knock out a lot of Pokemon.
So my issue with Charizard, and the way that I think personally it should be played, is in that consistent damage role, you know, the same as what we see from Sylveon. The issue there, though, is that it doesn't come online till level 7, compared to level 4 from your Espeon, Sylveon, what have you. And it also, its Unite move is, well, it's really good. It's not the kind of shield get out dodge that you want from your Sylveons, you know, Fairy Frolic, but does give you fly, which is quite nice. So it's just like, how do you take your engages? How do you take your fights? It can also just then sort of put down just basic attack over everyone. It deals true damage, which is nice, but it just doesn't feel to, like you were saying, hit the highs of a Cramran, of a Sylveon, because it feels like it needs to maybe get in a little too close as well for what it's too comfortable for.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have that benefit of the Gatling Gulp missile as well. You see Kramer just not being even touched. I think in that final fight, that Kramer actually even ejected forward into the fight while using that Unite move. We see a first ban on Umbreon right off the bat from Plus Ultra. And looking like Party Girls is going to be... actually, no, I think the teams are swapped over. So it's going to be Plus Ultra on the right-hand side, Party Girls on the left-hand side. Blaziken going to be the first ban on the side of Party Girls. Or Plus Ultra.
No, Party Girls are on the right. Aki is was the Hooper last time. You can see they're still hovering over it. So, Plus Ultra, do they first pick Hooper here to kind of be a nerf to the opposition? I don't think the Hooper was the big difference maker. No, going for a Crustle. Super interesting approach there. Maybe it's because, again, EU, smaller community, they know each other inside out. Maybe that was more, they're taking it away in case their opposition wants to run the Inteleon again. But Leafeon and Hooper, those are some very powerful first picks for Party Girls.
Yeah, with Leafeon sneaking through the ban phase too, going to be picked. Yeah, the first pick, Crustle, is interesting. I mean, it might be a comfort pick as well, but I don't know if you have to prioritize it as much. We see the Eldegoss being picked up here on the left-hand side, and then Sylveon as well. So some of that consistent damage, I like that too. Safer picks for sure, right? Pick out your support. We got a defender still probably going to be picked up from Party Girls, but covering some interesting picks. We haven't seen Buzzwole in a hot second after those nerfs. But Talonflame would be interesting. It did get a recent buff, but looks like there's going to be a lot of switcheroo. What is it going to be? This looks like almost slight roulette. It is going to be the Buzzwole and Inteleon picked up. This looks like a pretty meta team from a couple patches ago, but the Pokemon here are still very strong. It's just maybe not as strong as they were at their peak.
Yeah, Buzzwole kind of rose to form purely because of Blastoise. It being able to pull Blastoise out of Rapid Spin was what really got people back on the like Buzzwole hype train. So it's not fallen off realistically. It's just not as needed. So a Dodrio or something right now is kind of playing right into Buzzwole's hands perfectly. I think it's also a nice little counter. Buzzwole's a great counter towards, say, your Charizard or your Sylveon. Be able to pick them up, throw them down, slow them down a little bit, especially if it's something like if Sylveon wants to run Hyper Voice once again, then that just stops the Hyper Voice, right? So that's great there. The Snorlax is an interesting last pick. It's not a bad pick at all. But, like, these are just very new meta comps. Like, it's not what we were expecting to be played today, essentially, you know, as an all-round kind of area.
No, definitely not. So we're going to have to see how it's going to go, too. I mean, the Dodrio is going to be interesting as well. I mean, if you could lock down that Inteleon with a Dodrio, it's going to be pretty nice. Just, you know, kind of assassinate them from the back and just flank from sides. Charizard being picked up yet again is going to be interesting, too, and seeing how that's going to work. But this time around, Charizard's going to go to the other side, going to go to Plus Ultra instead. Tansen playing a fantastic Gyarados in that first game and saying, you know what, let me get my hand at this Charizard and see what happens. We're going to have to look out and see what moveset they end up choosing for that Charizard. But going to be exciting to see if we can see a Charizard make it through.
Charizard is also really interesting because it's one of the Pokemon where you can see Curse Bangle be pretty much a go-to item, be able to reduce with every single attack the healing received by the Pokemon on the opposite end, because when we look at your physical attackers, there's not really that many which you want to run Curse bang on. It might be, you know, your whole day pressers like your Cinderace and whatnot, but realistically, you just want to buff those guys up with even more damage if possible, right? So I think this is more teams just still trying to figure out where Charizard, you know, rolls itself into the mix. Dotrio here is a wild one for me when you got a Snorlax, you got Buzzwole on the opposite side. Like, that is a bold move, especially after it just got a nerf to Tri-Attack for whatever reason, you know. Dotrio feels like Genji from Overwatch, just like, you know, anything's wrong in the meta at the moment, just nerf Dotrio. That is absolutely fine. That's the way to go, and we just have to live with it.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like Plus Ultra is super prepared for this invade as Charmander goes down really early. Charmander by them lonesome up in the top lane and trying to get this Sylveon as well, but this Hyper Voice is chunking away. You can't continue to run into that if you're the side of Party Girls. So they're going to only take a 1 down with that Charmander, which not the worst time for the Charmander to go down, is going to be back up for the Spurs. But Plus Ultra is super prepared for that invade. There was literally no one in that bottom lane for Plus Ultra right in the beginning because they were all preparing for that invade. And maybe a little bit split jungle as well on that Dojo, as we see Dojo evolved up ready for this bottom birds. But 3 members on both sides going to be on this top side, and it looks like Particles got most of those birds, and you can see Buzzword just pushing forward now with that level 5 advantage.
But you can also see not being able to take out the Gossifleur. That might be the reason why Buzzwole sort of fell to the wayside. It just isn't doing enough damage, the kind of damage you want from your, well, all-rounders who are incredibly meta at the moment. We saw the Blaziken removed, but I think that Buzzwole spot right there would have been better served by maybe a Urshifu with the Rapid Strike, just chase them down, do tons of damage, and, you know, just follow Pokemon around, make them just a living nightmare.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, the Buzzwole had a low advantage and still couldn't get the job done as well as much. I mean, it was in the face of a Charmander and a Gossifleur too, so they weren't even evolved up yet. As we see, Party Girls is going to secure pretty much all the middle birds here for, you know, getting that experience going over to Todoroki's Leafeon. But we see Dodrio actually already level 8. That Dodrio is farming a storm up here and scoring a lot of points. It's 67-2 so far for Plus Ultra. So already going off to a hot start here.
Aki just having a way around. Second birds will be falling any moment now, and you can see both sides waiting on this top half. Get as much as they can. That's a great call, picking up the Elder Goss, and that was beautiful from the Buzzwole. Again, the reason why you use this, maybe not the damage, but it's that utility, throwing them in the frame. Already using that Unite move from the Leafeon, and that top half is wiped away purely from this position. They've got to now push on to the Regieleki, send it and really just break this goal instantly. Whilst Inteleon, Snorlax look to steal on that bottom path.
Yeah, they must have heard us talking about how Buzzwole has fallen off. They're like, I have not fallen off yet. And you can see 3 members aggressively pushing that top tier goal zone, and it is going to go down on the side of Plus Ultra. But Plus Ultra sat their eyes focused on this bottom Registeel. They're going to secure the Registeel and the Snorlax knockout as well. And Teleon running for their lives here. So it looks like they're going to probably counter score here. Todoroki's Leafeon comes in. Emerald 2-step. Sylveon just gets exploded on landing here. You see Buzzwole here is for reinforcements, but I don't know if Buzzwole can make it out here. You see a little superpower smackdown action. Super Swole Slam goes down, and Leafeon's actually going to pick up the knockout on that Dodrio. So a pretty good recovery from Party Girls after losing that bottom objective in T1 goal zone.
Oh, trying to hold them at bay, this Charizard. That's why you run Fire Blast, right? But is it enough damage to really keep them at bay? No, so they just ran straight over it and looked to target. That Inteleon is now doing absolute bits. Charizard losing, like, what, a third of his health from a single snipe shot?
Yeah, I mean, the snipe shot. Oh, speaking of snipe shots from downtown, going to snipe down that Dojo as well. Not an easy target to lock down, but these snipe shots have been on point so far. Looks like Party Girls is going to push a little bit of a comeback here as they're getting back on the points board. getting that Reggie Alecki as well. It is no way to contest this from the side of Plus Ultra. They're going to recall and maybe just jump back in for reinforcements here. Looking like Party Girls is deciding, do they want to push objective? It looks like they're all going to transition down to the bottom T1 goal zone. And you see Todoroki picking up another knockout here. And now there's going to be a decent overdunk. Maybe not that big, but it's going to be 9 points here. You see reinforcements are here, but Plus Ultra's a little bit outnumbered. Azure Spyfish is coming through, and Crustal's going to go down. Looks like they're going for some more. Buzzle jumps in too. That's going to be 2 knockouts for the Antelia. Make it 3. Sylveon drops as well. The defense was already over. The goal zone was already taken out, but Plus Ultra trying to get some pickups, and that backfired tremendously here. And now we got Inteleon just ripping down this Regirock, and is going to secure that as well. Things have really shifted in that past minute in the favor of Party Girls.
I just love how they left Snorlax to kind of watch over, play that scout role in case anyone was going to come in for the steal. And then they just went back to base, started moving up onto that top path. This is a great catch as well, as they do not like this Charizard. Unite move out, wanting to get rid of his Hooper, but they don't have enough damage again. Charizard just maybe been a little bit underwhelming at the moment. Everything is being used for this fight. Sylveon does get the Snorlax. Leafeon picked a number, I'm pretty sure, in the fray, but it's going to be Inteleon classed with the KOs for both. They'll chase the Leafeon out, but I think they know the job has already been done. They're happy just to run distraction here.
And you can see Todoroki running around the entire map doing a marathon. I don't think they're going to be able to outrun the Dojo. They'll finally goes down. But, man, the spacing for Party Girls is fantastic. You got Danny in the backside on the Centellion just getting free damage in all these fights. Full health. I think had at least a double KO right there. And, I mean, the damage chart is going to be crazy for the Centellion later. As you can see, another snipe shot completely chunking down the front line of Plus Ultra. You see Crustle trying to tank some of that damage for their team, but even Crustle wants no part of those snipe shots.
Come down to the 3-minute mark. Danny just getting started on the Reggie Alecki. You don't want to leave this too long, but of course they do have a minute to play with, and we do see teams leave it until that 20-second, 15-second moment to just pose the question, make things difficult for their opposition. But Pie Girls looking like they're just going to rip this now and send it on its way, then pivot and set up in the central area. But it was a very slow start. You can see they're trying to get as much value out of the time as possible.
Yeah, definitely stalling that a little bit, but kind of confusing too, because the 2 other members of the team is transitioning down to this Reggie steal. Looks like the timing is actually pretty good though, because Plus Ultra is going to opt to defend for this Reggie Alecki, and this means a free Reggie steal for Party Girls, unless Eldegas has something to say about that. No, not quite. That would be quite the steal there too. But Todoroki is going to secure that Reggie steal for their team. 3 objectives already on the side of Party Girls, and the levels look pretty good in favor of them too. 2 level 14 on the Leafeon and the Inteleon, level 13 on the Buzzle. Those are some scary levels for the side of Party Girls, and Plus Ultra has, you know, a similar situation as last time, but roles are reversed there. Now it's Plus Ultra with their backs against the wall again on that Charizard pick as well, seeing if this Charizard can actually pop off or not. 2 members of Party Girls on the top side, Buzzle and Leafeon, maybe going for a back cap here. Can Todoroki's Leafeon get this 100 burger off or not? No, not quite. Going to be jumped on by the other evolution, and actually getting chunked quite a bit here. Todoroki forced to use that Unite move, but Fairy Frolic used at the same time, avoiding all that Emerald 2-step damage. What a huge outplay from the Sylveon, and Plus Ultra is looking good in this team by pushing out Party Girls out of this Rayquaza pit, and Azure Spyfish is coming through. Can the Inteleon carry? They've been doing so much damage all the way throughout this game. Crustle is down, Rayquaza's low, but it's going to be Plus Ultra that secures it on the back to Sylveon, starting with that hero play, and now with that hero secure, they're running for some points. Todoroki's back on Leafeon defending that tier 2 goal zone.
Eldegas has just got back to base as well, so can stop this score. try and just hold things up. They do get some shields, you know, a little bit of health regain on the goal, but it's not enough. Party Girls here are looking to just stack it on the goal line. Maybe Leafeon in the back line so it could pick up a bit of energy and maybe throw this towards the second tier goal. They're only 11 behind right now. Leafeon going for a double 28, it'll be 56, and it has put Party Girls in the lead.
And Emerald Two-Step's going to come through and even take out the Dojo. Some few more points to cap. And here, that is going to be the nail in the coffin for Plus Ultra in this game. You can see Elga's trying to do their best to stop these points. Finally does go down, but a little bit too late there too. Todoroki trying to score the points earlier in that request fight, not able to get to it, but does get the redemption and gets those points in that tier 2 goal zone in the final seconds. A huge siege from Party Girls there in the final seconds after losing that Rayquaza fight.
Oh, well. We picked a good game to start on, didn't we, today, to go to game 3. BH3 Esport have already taken down Team Int, so they're in the semifinals, and Abu have taken down Porcadillo. Team Engage versus Worm Team is still going on, but for us, we're going to throw this to a very quick break. On the opposite side, folks, we'll be bringing you back with game number 3 between Party Girls and Plus Ultra after this. And welcome back, folks. We're heading into game number 3 between Party Girls and Plus Ultra. Caleb, it one apiece right now. Any sorts of factors that you feel are like the strengths of these two squads?
Honestly, I feel like the weakness is Charizard. Just don't pick up Charizard for these games. Charizard has a 0% win rate so far in this tournament, and I think maybe even in the prior tournament this week from United Battle Hub. So we're going to see how that goes. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's doing the damage it needs. But yeah, that last 2 minutes from that last game was incredible. I mean, it looked like, Party Girls. It looked like Plus Ultra had it on lock, especially after picking off that Leafeon early on, and then also securing that Rayquaza. But Party Girls was able to just storm back in that final siege there and just wipe their team and just get the necessary points in the final seconds. So really close games between these two teams, which makes it a very exciting game number 3. We see the Umbreon and Crustle ban on the side of Party Girls, so 2 defender bans, and then we see the Slowbro and the Blaziken be banned out. So a lot of defenders getting on the ban list these days, but that means a lot of carries can be picked up here. We see that first pick from Todoroki Leafeon, a great pick too. I mean, Todoroki played fantastic on that Leafeon, really only getting outplayed a little bit by Riku in at that 2-minute mark on that tier 2 go zone, but was able to get that redemption in those final points. Leafeon just looking so strong still in this meta.
It's early game. It's just too good, essentially. Send Leafeon into invade even, right? Straight out of the gates, because it's just so strong. Blastoise though, folks! Oh, it's good to see them back. We have seen that kind of, dare I say, buff to Rapid Spin. It's kind of like a little shadow buff there with its auto attacks. So who knows, now that the Rapid Spin, like when you do basic attacks whilst in Rapid Spin, you can apply the Cursed Incense. So that's a little bit of an extra bit of utility for them. And who knows, we could see that, or it'll just be the standard Surf Hydro pump that we've been used to for so long.
Definitely. And we see that Sylveon pickup as well in that second pick. On the Party Girl side, we see the Charizard and the Cramorant yet again. Let's see if we can break that Charizard curse in game number 3. Mimikyu and Eldegoss is going to be picked up on the side of Plus Ultra. This Mimikyu pick can be pretty scary too if you get the right lockdown. I believe Plus Ultra was able to win that first game on the backstab Mimikyu as well. So going back to that comfort pick as well as the Eldegoss and Sylveon too. Actually, so looking like they have a lot of similar teams. We got the Clefable being picked up here on the side of Party Girls, and then Mr. Mime to close it out. So, not like traditional defender roles or tankier roles, but providing that support and a little bit of tank as well on and frontline for Party Girls, and closing out with the Delphox. We talked a little bit about Delphox before the game started, but could provide a lot of utility there. I mean, we got Rapid Spin potentially. We got Fire Spin as well. There's a lot of spinning going on the side of Plus Ultra. And, it's going to be quite the nuisance, especially if you have Mimikyu in your face, but you got all this, range damage from the Sylveon and the Delphox from the back.
Well, for me, this looks more like I don't want to say a counter to Mimikyu, but now Mimikyu's big chief target is going to be that Cramorant. But if Cramorant just stays beside the Clefable, who did just get that buff, 10% to Moonlight, not a crazy buff, but Moonlight is strong as it is already, and we do have a kind of a squad here that like to be grouped up. It's not necessarily Brawl Comp, but they can all kind of work around each other. Mr. Mime, I do expect there to be the Barrier Mime, just throwing up, trying to wall off. Having 2 barriers means that you can kind of squish, especially in that central area, with the little bridges into the Ray Pit. You can squish someone in there to keep them stuck. It's really ingenious. So I'm liking what Party Girls are throwing in for the creativity aspect. Plus Ultra, they just mean business here. They know that BH3 is already through to the semifinals. They know the winner of this match has to face off against them next, so they're going in fully ready for this game.
And here we go. We got Todoroki heading over to the jungle for some of these early experience here. Probably going to be a slight split jungle as we've seen before, especially with these evolutions going over right away. We see an Eevee on the side of Plus Ultra also starting on some of these objectives. No Hoopa actually on either side for this game number 3, despite that Hoopa was not even banned out. So both teams just opting for different types of support here. Which might not be a bad thing, right? I mean, Hoopa is not the old Hoopa where you pretty much just needed it to win games here. As we see both evolutions going to be posturing up here. Oh, a big Hyper Voice here, but the Leafeon is going to take out the Sylveon, and the Leafeon goes down as well to Tanzim's Mimikyu, and so 1-for-1 trade here. Hard to say even who got most of that experience, but the buffs are going to be going onto the side of Plus Ultra for sure. And you know, having buffs on that top side is going to be helpful for that laning phase later. You can see Todoroki back up here yet again after that split jungle, you know, be able to put on a lot of pressure, but Riku is ready here as well, and the birds are going to go over mostly almost to the Cramorant as well with that hurricane damage. Both teams kind of just matching the tempo on both sides. Meanwhile, a Charmeleon goes down to a Squirtle, a tier 2 evolution going down to that baby evolution there too, but that might be that type of advantage Squirtle has.
I like this pivot as well from the Sylveon to go help out on the bottom half. Miguel's looking under pressure right now. Delphox online, but they did win a lot of that upper path, and you can see that Plus Ultra might just be putting a lot of like weight into stabilizing both these paths in these early stages, then look to make a push at the Reggies.
Yeah, we got that early evolution Delphox at that level 6. Definitely going to be a slight benefit over some of these other starter Pokemon. Here you see Todoroki secure all the birds here. 30 Aeos points in their pocket, double buffs as well, and already level 7 on the side of Party Girl. So looking to do some of that damage yet again in this fight and just lurking around these bushes. But Max is not going to be thrown off here. Snuffs it out. Hurricane is going to do a little bit of poke on the Eldegoss, so Eldegoss is going to heal back up. Both teams going to set up for this top burst, but it's going to be 4 members here actually on Plus Ultra reinforcing. Todoroki does go down. The help from the Delphox was crucial here, and now you see Particles running back to their goal zone to heal up and just fend themselves off, eating these berries as much as they can, but they can't have enough berries to eat as this goal zone is going to be potentially broken, and just going to get a few more points here stacked up on this Mimikyu. Riku trying to break it, but not quite. And here comes the Emerald 2-step. Sylveon does go down to Todoroki's Leafeon. And here, Mimikyu getting caught out as well, but Mimikyu is going to heal back up here. And it looks like Delphox is going to hold that pad. Level 9 already on this Delphox. Unite move is ready to go.
Delphox is looking good with the fire spin, just hunting down opposition. Mimikyu Tanzim is super low here. Has got to watch out in the back lines. They will fall to the opposition. Pygirls might be able to even break this bottom goal right now. Charizard with 10 will be setting up a nice little overdunk. Otherwise, Mr. Mime or Leafeon could just straight up break it, and that looks to be the plan. There's only going to be a 13 overdunk, but it's still a little bit of extra money for your worth, and that's not too bad.
Yeah, Charizard getting a double knockout before Mimikyu is able to take them out. Mr. Mime goes down to the Mimikyu as well, but getting a lot of value for Party Girls over there. However, that top objective is still up, and now they don't have that tier 1 goal zone on the side of Parker. So it's going to be much harder to defend this top objective, or even contest it, I should say, without the healing that Plus Ultra has in that same spot. Plus Ultra may be posturing in for a fight here. Going to secure these birds first before starting to work on this Regieleki. The top and bottom Reggies the timers are a little bit staggered at this point in time, tier 2. So Plus Ultra might be able to get this Regieleki and set up for a good bottom position for the second set of Reggies. But here we go. It looks like Leafeon is going to take out that Delphox from behind. Todoroki just being a complete nuisance for the side of Plus Ultra and just playing, you know, that kind of speedster road to perfection here. But just gets out to safety and going to continue to steal some of this farm on side of Plus Ultra.
Charizard to pick up their Sylveon, drop them down. They can look to rush over all these walls, hunt down opposition. Has caught the Eldegoss, but the Blastoise does catch out the Leafeon. That is a big dub for Plus Ultra there. Getting rid of those higher level Pokemon give over so much XP to the rest of the Plus Ultra team.
Yeah, Plus Ultra, I mean, this game is super close. 138 to 130. Make it 150 instead. Showtime. Mr. Mime is going to be starting to disrupt some of this damage, but it doesn't end up stopping any of the points from going in from that Blastoise. Position is fantastic right now for Plus Ultra, but they're going to dive in there. It's going to be Mr. Mime stealing that Registeel, not even using a Unite move for it. Gatling Gold Missiles coming through. Kramer's going to knock out the Eldegoss and the Sylveon, and going to go for the Blastoise as well. This Kramer is popping off. Goes for it. No, doesn't take up 4. It's going to be Todoroki that takes up. Oh, no, it does. Pick up some Mimikyu. Todoroki took up the Delphox earlier. Let's see if this Kramer is going to go for the Penta or not. No, I think we'll just play it safe, going straight up to this top objective. That's a lot of farm on the map. Todoroki just continuing to push the agenda here. But I mean, yeah, I mean, with you got the Mime, you get the Fable in People's Face, you got the Charizard and the Leafeon running all around. That Kramer is free to do whatever they want in this game.
And it is that meta change from Air Slash over to Hurricane. Hurricane with that knock-up, half a second, is so good to just remove Pokemon from play. Also, it does a solid amount of damage. Charizard doing a solid amount of damage as well, but Blastoise might just be a little too tanky. Cramorant's dive, perfect, chase them down.
Charizard said, I want my points in here. I don't care if you have 50 points, Daddy. I'm getting all my points in here instead. Probably go for a little bit of stacking, or just try and go for the easy break and before someone can stop it. Reggie and Lecky is going to go over to the side of Party Girl. So securing 3 of these 4 objectives so far. They're going to try to defend this bottom goal zone as much as they can. Maybe going to be helpful for this final Reggie on the bottom side, but also just for that Rayquaza fight. And you can see Todoroki be a nuisance again, just stealing even that Altaria, doing what they can to do it. But Charizard's going to be a little bit called out here. Pretty aggressive from the Charizard, fighting 1v3 on the bottom goal pad of Plus Ultra. Not going to pan out so well here. But looks like Party Girls are going to be posturing for this bottom Reggie, and it doesn't look like Plus Ultra is even going to try to contest it yet, but they're starting to make their way down here too. Sylveon going to be the first one here, but walking straight into a bush with the Mime, not able to get that combo off, but throwing up these walls is going to make the Sylveon hard to contest this. Todoroki looks like is going to secure this Reggie steal right before Rayquaza. That's going to be a huge Reggie here. Oh, Seismic Slam already comes through, and Mimikyu goes down. An early Unite from this Charizard, but you have the numbers advantage now, and the timer is pretty off for this Mimikyu. Mimikyu's going to be about 8 seconds off before they come up when this Rayquaza comes up. Party Girls might go for a quick burst, forcing out the Cotton Cloud Crash as well from Max, and not getting a ton of value there. Delphox gets picked off as well. Blastoise forced to use the Hydro Typhoon and eject out into safety. Gatling Gold Missile doing free damage, taking out the Eldegoss, taking out the Blastoise as well, and Party Girls has a strong hold on this Rayquaza.
Perfect picks throughout. First the Mimikyu, then pushing on to the Eldegoss, finalizing it up with the Blastoise and even the Delphox. But it's all reset. They didn't then push the advantage onto the Ray. No, they backed up. Yes, they do have a points advantage right now, but there is still 1 minute 10 left. And well, Plus Ultra is still in this game if they can just get Ray. Mimikyu ult, the only ult that is up right now. And if they can use that Unite move, they might just be able to section out a very tricky Pokemon indeed.
Yeah, I mean, the levels are on the side of Party Girls, but every member has completely reset at this point, too. So the advantage that Party Girls has is kind of seemingly gone away at this point in time. You got the Unite move coming up on the Delphox as well now, but Leafeon going to go in. Emerald Two-Step going to completely annihilate that Delphox, picking up the KO on the Mimikyu as well. Delphox couldn't even use that Unite move. Neither could Mimikyu. They're holding on to the Unite moves for a different game at this point, too. Triple knockout, and you see the quick surrender from Plus Ultra.
Wow.
Incredible execution in those last final seconds, especially from Todoroki, just completely taking Plus Ultra off guard, and they are going to move forward in this round.
I was scared about their indecision in those final moments, not taking the Ray head on to snatch it away, to leave that door open, but they left the door open to slam it in Plus Ultra's face. What a commanding way to finish off a game. Level 15 Leafeon utilizing that Unite move. Leafeon has such a quick charge on it that, yeah, they knew the macro of the game. They knew the timings and just went, that's fine. It'll be ready for the next fight. Just hold. Charge now. Pie Girls, I absolutely loved everything they brought to this game, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, and look at that damage as well. Ayala just breaking that Charizard curse there. Top damage, 82k, but a lot of damage on the carries of that Cramorant and Leafeon as well. And, Party Girls playing those last final minutes really well. And Todoroki just kind of popping off throughout that game, right? Just, taking out members of Plus Ultra all over the place too, and being pivotal in that final fight on that Leafeon. I mean, if I'm Party Girl's next opponent, I'm going to consider banning Leafeon on every one of these games, because Todoroki, even in the games that they lost, still looked really good on that Leafeon. Had, kind of a slightly unconventional team from Party Girls, no defender there, but running that double support pick and making it work.
Right, round 1/quarterfinals is done and dusted. For us, we need to throw this to a break. On the opposite side, if I just quickly bring up the bracket, we'll have Team Engage going up against Ebu, I think it is, EBAU. It's good. We know them, great players on both sides. We'll be introducing them to you afterwards. Nyat and co are ready to display a lot of what EU can do. We'll see you folks on the opposite side.
Welcome back, everyone, to Unite Battle Hub Elite Tour. We got EU Edition Qualifier number 2, the final qualifier before the last chance qualifier this upcoming Saturday. And we're moving on to round number 2. It's going to be eBout versus Team Engage. We saw a bit of Party Girls and Plus Ultra to an exciting game number 3. And Party Girls did move forward in that 2-1 series. And they'll be facing off against BH3 Esports on that top side, but winner of this one will be making it over to that finals and fighting for that last qualification spot from EU. So very excited to see how that goes. If you're just joining in here, my name's Caleb. I'm joined by Bacon, and we have some exciting Unite action for you all.
We do indeed. Name-wise, like we all know these players. Of course, BH3, you're talking on the opposite side, is the old Cinco Golemo when they got picked up. These two sides, eBout, kind of a new mix between Naya, Gurari, Pixel, Jozinf, Lynx, and Tieps. Team Engaged, though, that's Apple, Chari King, Leognus, Urkanda, and Dr. Gallo. So a lot of players that everyone here is probably going to be very familiar with and go, oh, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense. These are your normal semi-finalists. Realistically, EU has got a very, let's say, stable top 8 when it comes to Pokemon Unite. But who's going to be making to the top 2? Who's going to be winning all today? I think it's really up in the air right now, and I couldn't separate these two teams, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, and especially right after a recent patch as well. I mean, even if some of these teams can really pose out some surprise picks, maybe saying, hey, you know what, I used to be really strong that Urshifu, and that Water Bear looks pretty good. Someone in Twitch chat earlier was asking about that as well. It's like, hey, is no one playing this Water Bear at all? What's going on? Oh. And we did see some players from NA play it, but none from EU so far, at least in our broadcasted matches so far. But maybe eBout or Team Engage is going to switch things up a bit here. No Urshifu bans even actually coming out from those first 3 games, but some of it is just no matter how much you buff a Pokemon, it's better to go with what you're familiar with at times. And that Leafeon looks real good in Todoroki's hands. Why play Urshifu when you could just play Leafeon?
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to that's going to be the difficulty, is that Leafeon's sort of role and purpose fits sort of alongside what Water Bear wants to do. So I think for a lot of these teams, you've just got to take consideration of, if our opponents take Leafeon, well, we've still got Urshifu as an option, so it doesn't necessarily close out what you want to do with your meta. Also, Wicked Blow, it's still such a good secure move. Sure, that you could argue there are more other better secure moves, but the unstoppable aspect is still really strong in that Pokemon, even if it doesn't necessarily do the amount of damage. It doesn't offer you the mobility that you would want from other picks. There's a lot to choose from right now. One of the Pokemon that I'm surprised has fallen to the wayside so much is actually Dragonite. When we're seeing the other sort of pseudo legendaries, Tita, Garchomp kind of be these niche picks that we do see a couple of times, and even Dragonite just kind of feel as if it's disappeared. It just vanished from existence, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, at its peak, it was just you needed Dragonite on every team to have any chance to win the games. But these days too, it looks like it's just kind of getting power crept by some of these other picks too, going for a lot of these more mobile picks as well, right? You got the Leafeon, and then some of the longer range poke damage as well, like Inteleon, Sylveon. Dragonite's kind of like this weird in between where like the range is not super far, and you're not that mobile, right? You do have the Unite move, but it takes a while to charge up. You can't just use it all over the place too. So, yeah, I think I'd probably be more surprised to see a Dragonite these days than a Greninja or Cinderace. So, as we see some of that actually make an appearance here or there. But we'll see. I mean, Dragonite would be an interesting one too. The old school Hyper Secure was pretty meta back in the day, but there's been a lot of new Pokemon drops since then.
Well, my thought there as well. It's wild. It's not going to happen. But, the outrage build, when you've got so many brawlers at the moment, maybe that's the play to sort of just get into the mix of things. It's not going to happen. The same with, like, your Duraludon. Not necessarily good to go into the meta right now. The Inteleon pick, for me, is kind of wild, because I would have thought that with a lot of brawl comps, that Decidueye might lend itself purely because Spirit Shackle can pierce through multiple targets, right? So maybe you're looking to get damage upon 2 or 3 different picks. For weird phase. We saw Gengar suddenly became a little bit meta again. I think most people have just woken up from that weird dizzy daydream and are back in the mix here. Naya wants to ban the water chicken straight away. He's come to their senses and went, no, Slowbro. Okay, fair enough.
Slowbro is going to be the ban. I think we're going to see a ban of Umbreon. Kind of two standard bans. I think banned in pretty much every single one of our first 3 games we saw earlier today too. And, or it might be the Blaziken as well. Blaziken is going to be banned out. Umbreon is still on the table to be banned though. But, you know, a lot of times when you ban that Slowbro and you ban that Umbreon, Charizard's free to go. But it's going to be a Charizard ban from eBow saying, you know what? We don't want any shenanigans here. And Cerulege is going to be that second ban on the side of Team Engage. First pick Machamp could be interesting here too, but Umbreon is on the table, and my guess is at least one team will pick it up. But it might not be eBow because they're actually going to pick up the Trevenant as their defender, and Team Engage already hovering that Umbreon.
Cerulege though is, you know, it's not really seemed like it's been a problem for a lot of teams so far since launch, so that's an interesting one. Maybe it's just Team Engage aren't necessarily comfortable with how to play against it yet, because it is still relatively new, so it's that fear aspect. Leafeon, Umbreon, great little combo. Trevenant is, well, just incredible. Sure, it's kind of got a little bit of a shadow nerf with Hornleech not pushing as far as what it used to do, but it's still a push, and Woodhammer is still super strong. Eldegoss and Sylveon picking up afterwards, still 2 phenomenal picks.
Yeah, these evolutions, it doesn't matter how much you nerf them, they're gonna be around here or there. I mean, we don't see much Glaceon these days, but the other evolutions are still very prominent here. I mean, 2 very strong picks from Team Engage right off the bat, and then we get the Hoopa and the Gyarados as well. So I love to see it. I mean, part of it's also you got the early game strength of the evolutions, right? So could give you a little bit more flexibility. You have a little bit weaker Magikarp to start things off, but we saw from that first game in that last series, you know, once Gyarados gets going, it is scary. And then we have the Mew and the Scizor/Scyther on the side of eBow going to be rounding out their picks. So pretty solid team, I would say, standard in many ways. But it looks like, you know, Team Engage has a fairly bulky team as well. Maybe pretty hard to deal with, and they're going to round it out with that Mimikyu final pick. We did see Mimikyu in 2 of those games in that last series too, and it looks pretty strong here. I mean, Team Engage has a ton of dive, right? You got Mimikyu, you got Gyarados, and you have the Leafeon. I mean, there's not really any range at this point in time on the side of Team Engage.
No, like, and that is a little bit, dare I say, scary. You could call that Mimikyu diving into the backlines could be counted as that. Mew is a perfect target for that Mimikyu. Eldegoss as well is pretty darn good. But on the opposite end, I think Team Engage are going to be absolutely fine into this one. They just know that they've got to get right up into the faces of their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, kind of speaking to their name a little bit in that Team Engage there, but really going to be looking for those team fights. And the real question is how fast can you get this Gyarados online, because that's going to be a lot of their damage in that late game. And the sooner you get that, Magikarp evolved, the better. But it's going to be interesting to see how eBow plays around that too. And of course, they got the Hoopa as well to engage upon. So the team fight looks super strong for Team Engage, but you do have the Mew that could do a decent amount of damage from poke. You got that Mystical Mirage as well to get you to safety. So eBow, I think if they played their cards right, can definitely dance around this very strong front line of Team Engage.
Yeah, we just got a couple of little tech issues we need to sort out, folks. So we will be putting this into a very quick break as we just sort things out. Don't you worry though. We'll be getting into game 1 straight on the opposite side. The same drafts should hold up. Shouldn't have any issue with that. So just sit tight, quickly go grab a drink, stay hydrated and all of that. We'll see you after this quick break.
All right, we are back into your patience as we get into game number one between Ebao and Team Engage. Now, as we were talking about it earlier in the draft phase, Team Engage has a ton of frontline and dive on their side. But Ebao's going to probably play a little bit more on that poke end for their team outside of that Scyther. And we see, probably going to be a split jungle for these evolutions here. Magikarp trying to do what they can. Apple trying to maybe even get a knockout on this Mew, but not quite. Hoopa with a great body block. And Mew goes down to Chari's Leafeon right away. The quick support here. I mean, pretty much you definitely want to support this Magikarp as fast as you can. And you can see Apple actually coming kind of close to this Gyarados evolution already here. A bundle be secure here could be pretty nice.
And that's the interesting point of Mew at the moment, right? When we saw Venusaur also come a little bit back into fray, Venusaur actually just receiving a Sludge Bomb buff last month, Mew just has a little bit more mobility, has a little bit more versatility in what it can bring, because Electro Ball is also really good, but it is squishy in comparison, so you've always got to be careful. They're going in a little bit deeper for committing to the top bar from Ebao, but you notice how they're getting chunked so much by this Leafeon.
Yeah, they're sensing this Gyarados evolving very quickly here too. They want as much reinforcement as possible to slow down the inevitable, but Apple and this Magikarp is going to be turning into a big giant monster very soon. We see a level 1 Zoroark actually going to be invading here on the side of Team Engage's jungle. Sitting in this bush waiting here. Chari kind of have to pick their poison here. Is going to try to take out the Eldegoss, but not able to. And you see the knockout going over to the side of Ebao in level 1 Zoroark. Going to get both buffs here. We do have the Gyarados evolved up. Chari is going to be back up here. You see Link's trying to draw some of this attention away here. Just in there say, you know what? Just take me out. I'll take one for the team as I get my carry to safety. Mew really getting punished here. Naya is kind of running for their lives right here. Meanwhile, you got Apple just going to be bouncing all over the place and doing some of that damage. Dragon Breath is going to come through, a move that was recently buffed in this patch as well.
And once again, the Trick Hooper looking to really buff up the Gyarados and Leafeon, two phenomenal options. That level 1 Zoroark, by the way, folks, that's Joseph. So, you know, that was one of the reasons we had to just really put it to a break, was a player check amongst the tech issues in the background. So all is good. And well, they are absolutely doing bits on the Cypher.
Yeah, and we got, Soul Blade trying to secure the farm as much as possible and definitely getting some of that over to that Leafeon level 8 already. Meanwhile, we got Scyther on level 8 on side of Ebao. Gyarados only level 6, but Gyarados just doing Gyarados things once it is evolved here. We see 4 members on the side of Team Engage trying to grab this Regis as much as possible. Fantastic zoning from the side of Team Engage with Leo and Doctor on that Mimikyu. Can they get the objectives? Question, yes, a big Soul Blade, but it's actually the Mimikyu that picks it up here. But now the Leafeon quite low on health, so is the Umbra. You can see Scyther going in here and trying to take out the side of Team Engage. I mean, Team Engage is one with the front line to die, but it's actually looking like Ebao is going to take the aggressive positioning here against the team of Team Engage. Gyarados finally making their way down here. Let's see if the Umbra can hold it down long enough. Soul Blade coming through, a bounce coming through, as well as Team Engage is here back on the fences, and Ebao running back to safety as fast as they can, but Scyther is going to go down first.
Fight still continues though. They'll look to pivot this over to the opposite goal. Umbreon with its Unite move, Moonlight Days, sorry. Just really removing all shields and then just nice little bit of tick damage on top. Interesting as well to see this Mimikyu running play rough for the iframes over Shadow Claw. Not really what we're used to these days.
Definitely. I mean, just doing Mimikyu things, avoiding as much damage as possible, and you can see Chari really getting as much of this farm as possible with those solar blades here too. But Ebao looks like they're going to secure all the top birds here, but Chari not going to let that go without notice, doing some chip damage with the solar blade. And here we got Gyarados already level 10 as well too. This Gyarados farming up pretty quickly, and looks like Team Engage is looking to engage on this fight as well. Whole team is up on this top area as well as Ebao. 5v5 fight here. What can they do? Trevenant finally takes into level 9 here, as well as they're going to go through and continue to rampage forward. And looks like Team Ebao is the one pushing the objective. Dragon Current is going to come through. Scyther goes down, but Gyarados by themselves, and you can't really go 1v5 even if you're Gyarados. Looks like Ebao is going to come out on top in that fight, and they're going to get this nice objective on this Reggie, like going to a tier 2 goal zone as well.
Yeah, I doubt we'll see that goal zone. You know, Umbreon, Gyarados, and Hooper all there to defend against it, but it's all about wasting time. You can see Ebao now running towards his bottom goal, but can Mimikyu and Leafeon get rid of it in time? They can. It's only a Reg Ice, but it's still global XP, which is pretty nice to have for Team Engage. That's a great catch by Gary to be able to set up their Cypher. Trevenant into Cypher, such a powerful combo.
Yeah, I mean, picking up Chari on that Leafeon real quick, but Engage is going to try to defend this bottom goal zone as much as they can. They could, Ebao has a chance to do a big overdunk here with only 1 point left here, and Mimikyu is going to go down, but no, it looks like Trevenant is just going for the 2 points, 1 point overdunk, just wants to get rid of the healing as much as possible, but Hoopa Unite move has come through, and it is unbound for him. Gyarados comes flying through the portal as well, but Sylveon is going to take down that Hoopa. Meanwhile, Leafeon picks up 2 knockouts here. Sylveon trying to match with 2 of their own. 3 on the side of Leafeon, though. The Evolutions are duking it out here as moment time, but looks like Ebao Sylveon is by themselves right now. Trevenant comes in for some reinforcements here. Mimikyu dives in, but the Mimikyu is going to be taken out. So Ebao is going to kind of take out the final knockouts there, but I really like the adjustment from Team Engage after losing that Reggie. Like, he's going straight down to that bottom side for that bottom Reggie objective and grabbing it before Ebao has a chance to respond. I
also love their front picks on the Sylveon using their Fairy Frolic to counter and near enough cancel the Emerald 2-step from the Leafeon. Essentially, when you jump up into air, you do get a few iframes, so they perfectly timed it after seeing their opponent use it, so that it didn't do anything to them.
Yeah, this is a really great counterplay from that Sylveon to avoid all that damage from the Leafeon. And you can see, you know, level 13 on both the Leafeon and Gyarados. But this game overall is still fairly close, right? 1 to 2 objectives, 161 points to 106. Looks like Team Engage is going to prioritize his bottom Reggie instead here. And you can see trying to go for some of that, get some of those buffs going into that final Rayquaza fight. And Umbreon trying to buy as much space as possible for the team. Looks like Team Engage has a stronghold on this objective, and that Solar Blade just so strong as to secure too, just ensuring that they get that Regice as they go into this final objective, which is that Rayquaza. Orin is going to push this Umbreon around a little bit, but Umbreon's pretty tanky, is going to heal back up real quickly. You can see Mimikyu guarding that top goal zone. Maybe Gyarados looking for a back cap as well, scoring some points on top side. I'm not sure how much points that Gyarados is actually holding on to right now. It's going to be 72 points here. Going to put him over slightly over a 15-point lead. Actually make that 10 more points as well. Ebao needs to do something here. They're all stuck in a corner, all 5 members, but they're not able to get a pick off. I think they're saying, oh shoot, we probably need this objective ASAP. And we got Team Engage going for another 100 points in the bottom side. But you got the Hoopa Unbound coming through, and you get the Gyarados securing it as well. So everything going over to the side of Team Engage, and it's just Mew left in the center here. Trevenant is somewhere running for their lives as well, but all the points are on Engage's side, and we see a quick surrender from Ebao. You know, unfortunately, a disastrous last minute for them in that fight. We got 2 overdunks, or 2 backcaps, I should say, from the Gyarados and the Leafeon. But that's the thing with Hoopa, right? That Unbound form, just getting that Leafeon back in the fight after 100 points. Don't really miss a second there. And, you know, if you're Ebao, you have to respond really quickly. You have to somehow take out that Rayquaza fast enough before that Leafeon comes back through. But I don't remember. I don't recall if it was a Dragon Current from Apple or not. But Apple was the one that secured that Rayquaza for their team, and that was just, you know, the final step in that match.
What's wild for me there is that both Chari and Apple were trying to backcap. Apple was playing defensive. Chari was going in with, what, the 50? Looking for a double, you know, 100 burger on the tier 2. And then they got the call. They're ripping Ray. We can't stand for this, to come back. And that was also naturally the right call from Ebao. you know your opponent's going to be two down. Let's rip it. We've got a better chance, in a situation like this. That should put us like 60-40 in favor of just ripping and flipping the Ray. But they gave up on the score perfectly, came through the Hooper portal, and then just went straight onto the Ray with great secure moves. Really good adjustment from Team Engage. But it was clutch. We cannot deny it. It was a little bit lucky.
Yeah, it definitely was. And honestly, a lot of those team fights look like Ebao actually had a slight advantage, right? We're talking about how strong that engagement from the team of Engage was, right? A lot of dive, a lot of that front line as well. But it looks like Ebao was able to find the pickoffs they wanted, especially with that Scyther falling upon that damage. And, you just have a lot of balance on that team. But in that final team fight, they kind of froze up a little bit, right? They were going for double back caps on side of Team Engage, and Ebao just kind of sat in that bottom right bush saying like, oh, what do we do right now? We know there's a Hooper that could get him back in ASAP. And, credit to Team Engage, they didn't really get caught out in any way because they were down pretty much 5-3 in that Rayquaza pit. But they didn't really lose any value out of it.
Yeah. One thing as well that's been super interesting is that we've only seen Trick Hooper today. The hyperspace holes for a lot of these fights would have been a great little regrouping tool, brilliant heal as well. But instead, we're looking to prioritize your big main damage dealer, whether it is that Gyarados, whether it is that Leafeon in the case of the last game. And it is just literally, you're putting a lot of weight, a lot of pressure onto a single target. But that makes a lot of sense when it is a Pokemon like Leafeon that is a little squishier, like in those final later moments of the game, Leafeon could get dove and just instantly wiped away by like two Pokemon. So just by giving them a shield, it gives you a little bit more versatility, plus that plus move can just pull them back, across the ruins, which is a great get out of jail free card.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Hoopa just has a ton utility for teams in general. This is actually probably the most Trick Hoopa I've seen in a while in a tournament, but it's definitely paying off for a lot of these teams too. And the thing is like, oh, we don't have the hyperspace hole resets, but neither does the other team, so it's not like you're really losing out on much. I mean, if you played a different support, you wouldn't have that option either. Well, and the Unbound form just being so useful in these team fights too.
The issue for me then with Trick Hooper is that it requires you to have a somewhat bulkier team, right? Because you don't have heals still. Hooper doesn't naturally do heals. Its heals come from the hyperspace hole to send you back to base, where you get like, what is it, something crazy like 1,500 a second or whatever, because at the Pokemon Center you do so much healing. So it makes perfect sense why it's not registered at the end. But Hooper's like power for a trick is shields, which actually, let me go on Unite DB right now and see how much it is, because it's a healthy amount, so quickly look it up. 200% of Hooper's special attack plus 600 plus 30 on that special on the special attack, multiplied by, it's a big calculation. The point is that it is a lot of shields, and then once it does reach level 10, it gets a little bit of heal, 10% on top of it.
Definitely, yeah. So and I think they had a Wish Umbreon in that game as well, so picking up some of that healing duties on that side too. But yeah, I mean, it was a fairly close game, I would say, all the way throughout until that Rayquaza fight. But Team Engage is going to go up 1 point here to 0. And we're going to see how Ebao responds here in game number 2.
Yeah, and the Umbreon's biggest sort of utility and purpose there was with its Moonlight Prance, where it was essentially putting down and going, for this 6 seconds, you're not going to be able to use your Unite moves and get a shield off it, because of course Moonlight Prance just removes shields that within the area, eats through them. So it's a phenomenal tool for that, plus also a bit of sustainability. 50% shield onto the is it 50% or 30%? I'm trying to remember, onto the Umbreon, which is also a great little tool to just stay alive, because Umbreon can be surprisingly bulky.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there were a couple times where I think Umbreon was being horn leashed out of the fights a little bit, but just kind of ran to safety as well, and not really the focus of Ebao on targets they really want to go for. But I gotta say, Gyarados looking pretty strong in today's
Yeah.
meta. I think Gyarados has a 100% win rate so far. And, I think early on when, Gyarados Magikarp was released, it was kind of a lot of teams were, straying away from him saying, I don't know if it's really worth the risk, right? Especially having a completely useless Magikarp in the first few parts of the game. But honestly, it's players these days have been pretty consistent on evolving that Magikarp within the first 2 minutes, roughly. Sometimes even faster than that. And, I mean, is it that different from, let's say, like a Charmander, right? That's not a Charizard yet. Like, not a huge difference in that regard. So, getting that Gyarados online has been crucial for a lot of these teams.
If you are to trying to think, word it. The early game doesn't matter, essentially, the first 2.5 minutes, unless you're running a comp where you are going to look to get so level advantaged and then hold that level advantage. Because if you are, say, 2-3 levels above your opponents and you get knocked out, that is a ton of XP going the opposite way, right? So that's where, okay, you'll see a comp like we did with the, double Eevee comps, right? Remember the Glaceon and Leafeon combo, where the whole point was just to absolutely run the early game and then look to carry that over into the late game. That's also why you might have seen maybe a damage dealer like your T-Tar in the fray, because you needed something that could really hold up in that late game, and you're taking a lot of pressure off it. So that's where that makes sense. Magikarp, I think that's why we're seeing these new innovations, like it being left alone in lane. So it had 18 Eos energy by the time it had finished just the normal like run through the wild Pokemon in its path. It was then level 4 and it just needed to score. Sure, it can be difficult with 18 Eos energy to actually get that dunk in the early stage of the game, but if you get a full wipe on those early Altarias, that is a guaranteed Gyarados.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Gyarados, I think their Gyarados was actually a little behind on levels after they evolved, but Gyarados is one of those Pokemon where they farm quick and they were pretty much top level by the mid to mid-late game really quickly there. So we're going to see our bans coming through here. Team engaged with the first ban, and it's going to be a Slowbro as expected. Cerulege going to be the ban again from Ebao. I can't remember. Actually, I think it was Team Engaged that banned Cerulege last game, but we're going to see another Cerulege ban here in game number 2. Leafeon going to be banned out. I mean, Leafeon looked pretty good on Chari, and Chari said, you know what, I don't want to face my Leafeon on the other end. So they definitely have some other picks up their sleeve as well that they could pick. Because I guess they could have picked up Leafeon as the first pick here if they really wanted to.
Yeah. Interesting as well. We saw Dr. Gallo hover the ban on Phalanx. Phalanx, of course, getting fairly sizable nerfs with the most recent patch. Understandable. And maybe it is enough to just keep that, I say that Pokemon. Well, it's surely got to be classed as 6 Pokemon at bay, right? Because it's not been seen, it's not been that threat like it used to be. Sure, it was bugged, so we didn't see it on Tuesday night, but Phalanx is playable again right now today, and teams are preferring to choose, other Pokemon like Charizard. Blaziken's been allowed into play, and we've seen that a lot of folk have been scared of the fiery chicken.
Definitely. But we do this. I think this is maybe the first game where Blaziken's just not even banned at all in tonight's tournament, at least on broadcast. And we see the Umbreon lock-in as well. Chari picks up the Sylveon too. So we go back into some Charizard action. I mean, with Slowbro being banned and then also picking up the Umbreon, you can't really lock down this Charizard very easily. So it could be a really good Charizard game. I mean, the game 3 of the last series did end off on a top damage Charizard. So in the right hands, it could be pretty good. You can see Pixel hovering over that Mimikyu and is going to pick up the Trevenant and the Mimikyu. So double ghost types here as we go into that final pick for them. Team Engaged probably going to look for a support pick here. Blissey could be pretty strong here, especially paired up with that Charizard. Garchomp would be kind of wild, but we can see teams are just going to try to kind of figure out things a little bit. We haven't seen a Metagross in a hot second. That could be an interesting pick here.
And looking at this team is bulky. You could understand why they were looking at the Snorlax there, Leognus, but instead choosing a little bit more, let's say normal, a little bit more sustainable, a little bit more consistent with a Blissey, who is a phenomenal add into the fray there. Last pick, free bow, is going to be Naya on the Delphox. I'm curious, will we see the Flame Spin Mystical Charge? Once again, we know that once you get up to, what, level 13, you can just constantly throw out damage because of just how the timers stack with one another. Interesting for me, though, we saw Pixel and Sylveon last game here, Caleb, and coming into game 2, you know, Mimikyu plays wildly different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I like this final pick from Naya on that Delphox because, I mean, looking at the team of Engage, again, they have a lot of Engage on their team, but also, especially that Metagross, you do not want to be stuck in that compute and crush with the rest of your team. So having a little bit of range damage is going to be playing a little bit more favorably. Also, you know, the Fire Spin Disruption could be nice. You know, so it could be interesting. But again, Team Engage, pretty bulky team all the way throughout, right? I mean, there's nothing really frail on their side, and a lot of them have escape mechanics, right? You got Sylveon with that Unite move, very frolic, and then you got Charizard with the Seismic Slam, and just, you know, Umbreon's not going down easily, nor is Metagross and Blissey. So not a lot of easy targets to take down from the side of Team Engage. Very bulky, and let's see if Ebao has the damage to do it.
I actually love the idea of the Delphox versus Metagross Unite lineup, where Metagross jumps in it, you're stuck in here with me, and then Delphox turn around, putting down the fancy fireworks, and just be like, no, you're stuck in here with me, because they just lock themselves in. That'd be phenomenal. But I think right now, if you're looking at Ebao, they do need to kind of prioritize this Metagross. Let it get online as late as possible. Charizard, we've seen, is not necessarily a threat until it gets its Unite move. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. You know what you can do with it. But Metagross, if it gets online quick, you know, we're talking by the first Reggie fights, it is a monster to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and we don't see as much, at least I haven't seen a ton in competitive lately, but I think in the right hands and with the right levels, it could be pretty good. But it is going to have one of those later stage evolution, like those pseudo legendaries at level 9. So going to take a second to get online. But yeah, we'll see how fast that Team Engage can get that Metagross going. Farm is going to be pretty important there. But if you keep that Metagross stuck as a tank for a while, you could really snowball your lead if you're Team Ebao.
Yeah. Just let you folks know, we will be a little bit slow getting into game number 2. We have had a game crash, so you know, we're just waiting for players to get back in the lobby. I don't know yet if we were able to get the pause in, so we don't need to remake, but nonetheless, game 2 will go ahead, and you know, we want to allow these players to play the game. It'd be a bit unfair, right, if we were just like, nah, 4v5 for this game too.
Yeah, definitely. And see, looking like everything's good to go here. Beldum is going to be that jungle on side Team Engage, trying to get that farm as fast as possible. Apple in this and Leo on the Chansey going to be grabbing the farm as soon as possible here. Another fire starter here is going to be that Torchic over on the side of Ebao. Looking like the Gospel are going to share that red buff here, trying to get the red buff to really slow down the side of Team Engage on these score caps here. Apple pretty content on just farming and maybe going for some of the scores, sneaking by the side of Ebao. Meanwhile, we got Mimikyu in the jungle side for Ebao to kick things off as well.
Have we seen a stacking Charizard yet? Or even a stacking Blissey? It happens, but it's still wild to me, you know, just the audacity to go in with it. Apple just getting a soft-boiled perfectly in time to heal up and, well, save the day.
We see aggressive Metang here. Dr. Gallo trying to do what they can, but maybe got a little too aggressive. Mimikyu going to grab that knockout, and is now you got the Mimikyu and the Gospel with the red buffs now. So now getting all the buffs here on the side of Ebao, and that's going to be paying huge dividends to Ebao, grabbing pretty much all the birds here. And this Torchic trying to evolve that Combustion as soon as possible, but that's going to really set this Metang behind.
They ate good. The Eldegoss is feeling so audacious. They'll go and try and steal away the blue buff. Not going to happen there, though. Team engagement and the right thing here, though. Read him and predict him really well to then try and get a couple of stacks in when they can. They've fallen back now, and I'm intrigued that we've not seen this Blissey come back and deal with this Eldegoss. Instead, it's going to be the Sylveon. Should be able to chase it down. Should have enough speed, but that is an X speed that has been popped so they can get away to safety.
Yeah, that Eldegoss was living inside that jungle. I'm sure Dafter Gallo was like, hey, where's my team at? I'm just being pestered by this cotton ball the entire time. Meanwhile, we got Combustions dropping 18 points on that top side. Ebao trying to get their levels up as well. We got level 7 on the highest level so far, but Matang is going to catch back up a little bit in levels, and it's going to pick up that level 7 themselves. Going to pick up a knockout on the Combustion. And this means that there's going to be some points going over onto the side of Team Engage. So Matang not as far as behind as we would have expected. Pretty on pace to that level 7. Charizard is going to be evolved here. And we see both teams going to be contesting farm. 3 versus 2 on the bottom side for Team Engage. 2 versus 3 on that top side. Combustion is going to take out that Charizard on that top area. And maybe he takes out the Blissey. But the fight is going on this bottom side as well. Matang going to pick up a big knockout on that Trevenant. You can see stacking up some of these points and inching closer and closer to that level 9. 30 points go in for Chari as well on the Sylveon. It's going to be massive. Looks like Ebao's pretty content on just letting Team Engage go and get this Regice. They're going to break that top tier goal zone, and they have a Regieleki pushing into the tier 2. It's actually pretty good for Ebao because not only can they contest this Regice, and they get the Regice as well on Nayet, they got a Regieleki pushing into the top tier goal zone for Ebao into Team Engage's goal. So Team Engage not really getting much out of either of those fights. Matang is not evolved yet. If they got that Regice, maybe they could have been, but looking to evolve as soon as possible. Here we go. Metagross is online. Is Compute and Crush going to come through or not? Looking like going for some of this damage, but meanwhile the rest of their team is going down. Delphox goes down, but Umbreon goes down as well, and they're going to collapse back on top of this Metagross. Looking like they're going to get back to safety though as the Charizard is coming in for reinforcements on Apple. Apple is going to use the Seismic Slam and start burning away on the side of Ebao. Ebao's going to run to safety here.
Always looking dangerous here. Team Engage finally online with their picks, but the level advantage. Ebao looking mighty good. Pix has got to be careful. There you go. The Midnight Prance finally being able to deliver out enough area damage to support the rest of the team. And Team Engage, they have weathered the storm.
And we have a level 11 Metagross on the map, highest level so far, and this is starting to look kind of scary. And now Team Engage going to push their advantage, right? They're all leveled up and evolved. They're going to start grabbing some of the farm on the side of Ebao and really slowing their progress as well. We only have a level 8 Delphox, so not looking great for Naya on this Delphox. Really going to be a source of damage for the team, but just not getting the levels they need so far. Fire Blast is going to start burning down here too, but Phantom Force is going to come through, and you can see Team Engage just dancing around here. Metagross feeling bold here. Just going to go straight in, just constantly jump in people's faces. Takes out the Trevenant, no problem. Trevenant not looking like a defender at all, and that by looking like a speedster here. But Blazing is going to secure the knockout on Sylveon, and Ebao saying, you know what, we're not going to get pushed around. We're going to go back in here. Bliss Assistance is coming through. It's going to be Metagross and Blissey against the world here, but not enough. Umbreon goes down, and so does the Metagross. And yeah, it's going to be big here. I mean, pretty much almost a team wipe for the side of Team Engage, and Ebao's going to secure this Regieleki. They're pushing a little bit of a comeback, and Trevenant scoring some points on this bottom side too.
Minus skills were from Lynx, utilizing Pollen Puff's ability perfectly when they were firing the Regieleki through the Pollen Puff on themselves, and then just stood in the middle to try and get heals upon as many players as possible. It's just minor little things like that which really shows the difference in capabilities instead of just throwing at the most valuable target.
Yeah, here we go. The brawl continues. Metagross trying to do what they can to defend this, but getting pulled out of the healing there. And Metagross goes down quick here, just getting batted around but Mimikyu is going to go down to the Sylveon. Blaziken charging up here, but not getting any damage. And here comes Charizard. Seismic Slam is going to come slamming down. That Blaziken goes down. Delphox goes down to Sylveon as well. You can see Cloud Crash is going to come through, but it's only going to heal but Trevenant. And here we see Team Engage trying to take this objective. They're trying to find the spacing here. They got to ward off this damage from the side of Ebao, and Ebao not enough damage to secure this Registeel. Charizard just burning their way through this team of Ebao. Picks up another knockout on this Eldegoss, but gets Hornleash away and gets picked off from the Mimikyu. This fight is going back and forth all over the place here. Reinforcements just piling in non-stop. I heard an Eldegoss Unite being popped somewhere. I don't even know where it happened here. But the teams are just jumping back over. Mimikyu goes down as well. And it looks like Trevenant is going to try to run to safety.
No, they backed out. Oh, that feels so sort of underwhelming in the end, because you saw Delphox was down low, but maybe it was the case of where Delphox is only at level 11, it's not worth it for the XP because they wouldn't be as valuable. Nonetheless, top Reggie Alecki will, well, drop into the ruins. How about now as I look at my watch? And this is going to be a big, valuable target for Team Engage. That second tier goal is still up. They can send it on its way and slow down, reduce the defense on the Rayquaza.
Looks like Ebao is going to just be content on just getting positioning. A very aggressive position. Just saying, you know what? Get that Regieleki. We're going to win this Rayquaza fight. 201 to 151. So 50-point difference here. Make it about 70 points difference, but still a very manageable point differential here. These teams love to fight, and here they're going in. Fancy Fireworks not really hitting any targets here, but Metagross is starting to dive in here. Compute and Crush catches no one, actually. Eldegoss able to fly out of there too, so Unite move not coming through as well. Waiting for that Umbreon to spawn back up, but Team Engage a little bit outnumbered in this Rayquaza pit, and Ebao find that early position. Rayquaza is going to come in handy here. Metagross going 1v2 here, but meanwhile you got Ebao diving in on top of the Charizard. Charizard goes down. Sylveon goes down as well. Bliss assistance on the Metagross, but what can they do? You got two supports here, a tank, but Metagross trying to do what they can. Blazing with 2 knockouts already, but the side of Ebao is actually quite low. You can see Metagross trying to hunt down some of these, but the objective's going down quick. Metagross still full health with the heals from this Blissey as well, but it's going to be the Blaziken with a big secure for Ebao, and Ebao needs this victory here to force a game number 3. They're trying to score their points, but Team Engage starting to spawn back up here. Umbreon not able to stop the 100 points right on that first pad. Naya going for another 100 as well. Trevenant going for 100, and these are going to be the points they need to win this game.
And there's not going to be enough time as well for Engage to spawn back in and run down the opposite end. So the surrender is called. And Ebao, once again, Caleb, we're going to game 3.
Wow, what exciting times here for sure. I mean, this game was a brawl fest. I mean, there was just like both teams were on the same page. They say, oh, you want to fight? Oh, we're going to bring the whole squad. And the fights went on so long that they just kept respawning and joining the fight. I mean, I feel like at a certain point, one team was just like, let's just ease back. We got so far. Let's just stop doing this. We can keep doing this all 10 minutes of the game, but let's roll back a little bit here. We see top damage from that Metagross, 108,000 damage, but 105 damage on Pixel and that Mimikyu too. Kind of a sneaky damage there throughout. You know, not as easy to see in these fights, but just Mimikyu just weaving in and out of these battles. But a lot of damage on both sides of teams. Ebao, though, finding the advantage in that final fight. I mean, I think they made a great decision right after that Regieleki was taken, right? They're saying, you know what? We're going to give it up. We're going to find that aggressive positioning. They found an early pickoff on that Umbreon and just were able to kind of snowball their lead from there. Metagross was still alive and healthy in that Rayquaza fight, but Metagross could only do so much themselves. Even 108k damage is not enough if they're pretty much just 1v5 there for damage purposes, right? I think a Blissey was healing the Metagross up, but minimal damage from the Blissey, just the Metagross trying to put everything, the team on the back end. Falling a little bit short, but that's good news for all of us here, maybe besides Team Engage, because that means we get exciting game number 3 here.
And the damage numbers on both sides really just showed there were so many team fights, and it was just constant, it felt like, especially when in those final 4 minutes there was not a breather. But folks at home, we need a breather just very quickly whilst we get game 3 set up. That will be the decider. Winner goes on to face BH3. We'll see you on the opposite side.
All right, we are back here. It's good. If you're just joining us in, it's Unite Battle Hub Elite Tour EU Edition, and we just came off an exciting game number 2 between eBow and Team Engage. We're going to decisive game number 3, and this is a single elimination bracket, Bacon, so a lot on the line here.
Literally sudden death for these two teams in this series anyway, right? Loser has to go home, think about what they did, and then, pull up their socks and be ready for Saturday for the last chance qualifier, because they're not out of it just yet. But you want to get your spot nice and early, because not only does that mean you get a little bit of rest and, you can have half your weekend for not playing Pokemon Unite, but that also means that you've got a better seed going into Sunday. This will be the second seed from EU, which, if my memory serves me right, will be the 4th seed overall, which, isn't a bad place to start, knowing that you don't have to go up against one of the already qualified teams.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah, and so just if you win it all today too, there's just less games you have to play, even if you make it through LCQ, right? Just so you can rest up, maybe scout out some of your opponents just as you prepare for that main event on Sunday. But eBow, Team Engage, both playing incredible games so far. Team Engage playing a lot of Engage Pokemon and frontliners, as their name would maybe indicate, but eBow finding ways to dance around some of these matchups as well too, and I think making a lot of really smart macro decisions in that late game, especially in game number 2, to find the victory there and find the team win against Rayquaza. But yeah, here we go into the draft and ban phase.
So Engage have decided, we want that second pick once again. And we were talking about earlier whether first or second pick is more strong. It seems like teams are falling in line with second pick being the better of the two. This is interesting, though. Both Eldegoss and Hooper being removed. What then becomes like the highest value support, Blissey?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, right? I mean, Comfey maybe like a secondary of that Blissey, but Blissey looking like at the top healer here in support, but I don't know, maybe you could pull out something like a Clefable, Wigglytuff if you're really bold. We haven't seen Wigglytuff in a while. We get the Slowpoke ban as well. Slowpoke guaranteed ban pretty much in all of these matches, and we get the Umbreon. So 2 supporters and 2 defenders being banned out on the side of Team Engage. Let's see what eBow picks up here as their first pick, but typically speaking, that we get Ceruledge. So Ceruledge was banned out in the past 2 games, I believe, but is going to sneak through here. We get the Blaziken lock-in from Team Engage, which is going to be pretty nice. I believe Blaziken went onto the side of eBow last game, so going to grab the Blaziken here. Leafeon, pretty strong pick, but this does leave Blissey on the board here. It looks like eBow already hovering that Blissey here. You're going to be your premier healer and support, and we get the Charizard pick as well. I like this pick again because you got the Slowbro and the Umbreon bans. You got the Blissey to keep that Charizard alive as well, and just not a lot of things to lock that thing down.
They're going for Fable here? I was thinking this was going to be a last pick Comfey, because that would go wildly great onto both the Leafeon and Blaziken, but no, we're going Fable, so we are still sticking with this all-out brawler build. That then to me screams that it's going to be Moonlight Gravity once again. On the opposite end, this is the longest we've seen Sylveon be left, because normally that is like within the first if not second waves of picks. And Trevenant to boot. eBow are grinning with their picks here. On the opposite end, Team Engage, you've got to show us that it was worth it. They might be cooking up something mighty tasty, especially if Chari still has... Cramorant wasn't picked as well. Like, this is such a...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you ban 2 supports right off the bat, right? Hoopa and Eldegoss does free up a lot of these heavy hitting picks here, and just gives, I mean, you got Ceruledge, so you can pick that up, but then you just give up stuff like Blaziken, Leafeon, Cramorant too. So going to be an interesting one. I mean, we have kind of a lot of the premier all-rounders attackers here in this game. Not as many supports, but hey, this is going to be another brawl fest, I think, going into this game.
Pixel on the Ceruledge. Now, I can see a little bit of hype in chat for them. So let's just see if they can cook up something fierce. Naya on the Charizard. We have been questioning Charizard all night long. Will Nayat be able to prove us wrong? That Blissey build as well with the special specs, they will be wanting to do a little bit of stacking just so it can increase the amount of heals they have, where it's a consistent increase each time as well. It's pretty nice and predictable. They know what they'll get out of it, but yeah, this is going to be very exciting. Both teams look quite happy to take brawls here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, looking at that Kramer last pick too, I think it's a really smart pick. I thought maybe it's going to be a Delphox as well, but Kramer, you can just dish out a lot of damage from safety in these fights. Looks like Kramer just untouchable in a lot of these team fights because of how much spacing your team gets you. And that Gatling Gold Missile, yeah, if you can't lock on the Charizard, at least just take him out before you even fly to you, right? So that could be an option as well. We see Charcadet probably going into this jungle side for the side of Ebao. Going straight for these buffs. Meanwhile, we have Leafeon going over into the jungle side of Team Engage. Probably going for a slight split jungle yet again. And yeah, no one even going to touch that bottom pad for Team Engage for a hot second. Meanwhile, Charcadet trying to get that red buff going for them.
So the Sylveon took the Xatu, and then Charcadet is going for both buffs, and I would then assume to pick up one of the ball toys. That is such a weird split. Maybe both. Yeah.
It's very, very intentional, I would hope, from this side. There's going to be a Solar Blade Leafeon from Dr. Gallo, and you can see the damage is going to start coming through as fast as possible. So going to actually be joining this bottom path here. So for once, not actually a 3v3 on that top side, instead prioritizing this bottom side. But looks like Leafeon is going to try to make their way up to this top burst in time. Let's see if they can get there or not. Might be just a few seconds late, but should be in time for at least a fight after. Oh, Solar Blade coming through at the perfect timing, sneaking through that bush, but Ebao getting enough farm to get that Blissey evolved up here. Meanwhile, we still got a lonely Torchic and a Clefairy here on this top side. So, you know, Leafeon going to try to do what they can to help them evolve. Torchic might be going over to that jungle as they're splitting it with that Leafeon. Leafeon trying to steal some of that farm, but not going to be able to do it, as it's going to be another Hyper Voice Sylveon here. And you see Kramer trying to do Kramer things and just chip down, but Crustl's quite low here, and it's going to go down to that Charmeleon. That's going to be very handy for Charmeleon to help get it evolved into a Charizard as soon as possible. We have Clefable online as both teams are, you know, swarming into this middle area to contest these bursts, but more members of the team engage here, and Cerulea's got to be careful here. They might be called out, and it is going to be a 4v2 here. Cerulea gets to safety, but Blissey does go down. Trevenant trying to buy some space here for Cerulea to come back to safety here. And Cerulea is taking a lot of damage.
Well, you said it earlier, Clefable coming online. That wasn't actually the big one there. It was this Cramorant at level 6 getting dive means they can chase down targets. But that was a great response, taking down both the Clefable and the Crustle. Cerulea at that level 8, 2 levels ahead of everyone else, is dishing out damage.
Yeah, that's pretty nutty too. I don't even know where the Cerulea picked up the level from. Maybe just taking all the jungle for themselves for the most part and getting a knockout here or there. But Cerulea is going to start dishing out some of that damage. Charizard is evolved up. Still doesn't have that Unite move quite yet, but at least it's no longer in that Charmeleon form here. You can see the Combuskin is going to evolve to Blaziken on that top side. Sylveon just holding them off with Hyper Voice, which I think is a solid defense, allowing Ebao to have great numbers and position for this Regice. Team Engage recognizing that it's not worth fighting over, so they're actually going to go for this Regieleki on the top side. But Sylveon able to put on a decent amount of defense here. Might even be able to snipe down the Regieleki here. Regice is going to go down to Ebao. No surprise there. But it is going to be Apple securing that Regieleki. Can the Sylveon hold off? No, trying their best, but the Regieleki is going to go into the base, at least not letting them break the gold zone beforehand and having that go to tier 2. But the team of Team Engage are still going to tier 2. Ebao responding with their own points and is going to just counter score in this bottom goal zone. And the points are actually quite even to reflect that. 156 to 144. Very Frolic comes through, but Emerald 2-Step is going to follow up and take out the Sylveon. It's actually going to be Apple picking up on that Blaziken. And that's just a few more points for them to dunk into that top tier 2 goal zone.
heavy usage of the Unite move from Sylveon there, and well, all Blissey could do was just watch as the Blaziken got another stack in. Only 3 points, so it's not necessarily about the score, it is definitely about increasing their stats. And well, Team Engage, that's a beautiful bounce back. That 2-level lead, which the Roulage had earlier, has just vanished.
And Charizard is going to hit into that level 10 though. I think running Fire Punch actually on this Charizard. Gatling Gold Missile though doing a ton of damage, but Cerulege is going to end that real quick, just completely slashing through that Cramorant, and Charizard picking up 2 knockouts here, make it 3, and it's going to continue to just burn the enemy team down, almost hitting that level 11 now on Charizard. Nia's Charizard looking quite strong. Running Fire Punch and Fire Blast combination, I believe.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, essentially, Flamethrower, you do it for more damage, but Fire Punch, like we said earlier, the little bit of CC it does add is nice, mix out utility. Perhaps this is the way that we need to be running Charizard. We will have to see, because, again, I like this little bit of experimentation and then just leaving its regular A as being sustainable damage.
And Naya going in again with the size 6 slam is going to start burning away. It's going to be Crustle trying to buy the team a little bit of space. Might be able to even get out of here. No, does finally going down to the Sylveon. Cerulege slashing through the team of Team Engage, picking up 2 knockouts here before going down to Blaziken, but does allow Ebao to break that top tier 1 goal zone as a posture for this Regieleki. They're not going to make it easy though. Team Engage goes in here and the E-Jet combo take out the Charizard. It's going to be massive for Apple, and that Blaziken Leafeon comes in as well. That's going to be 2 knockouts for Apple's Blaziken, trying to take out the Blaziken, but just going to push it back. And wow, what a response from Team Engage. I thought they were out of it for that Regieleki fight, but no, they came back. And once taking out that Charizard, they just continue to push their advantage forward. And now it looks like they're going to get a Reggie objective on the bottom side too. Yeah, the double respawn was perfect for them in time and battle, being able to then throw it back in. Revenant Rend is so strong, it seems, in this current lineup. There's the Cramorant Gatling Gold Missile once again, but not really getting massive targets from it. Finally, the Blissey will drop. Cerulege as well, so what am I saying? But that's all because it was mixed up with the Blaziken, with the Leafeon, who have both been taken down. Trevenant and Charizard on this goal should be able to push them back. Yeah, a really good option here, but Fire Punch going to slow down a little bit. Trevenant trying to push things away, but Naya on the Charizard has been living at 5 HP this entire time. It's going to be a Reggie steal here at this bottom Reggie. But Gerard just going to give it a little smack before going for some of Team Engage here. Going to zone off with this Wood Hammer. Rest of the team of Ebao is going to be healed up and ready to take this fight. Charizard actually never recalled, so we're going to just heal off this tier 1 goal zone and try to get as much health as they can as they start burning down this Reggie steal. It's going to be hard for Team Engage to steal this objective, especially between the Clefable and the Crustle, but just want to be a slight nuisance maybe and just keep an eye on the opponents before they head over to this Rayquaza. We got level 14 on Blaziken, level 13 on the Leafeon. Probably wants level 13 on the Cramorant if possible, but I don't know if there's enough farm on the map for that. 2 level 13s outside of Ebao, so I would say level-wise pretty close. Blaziken's going to be that higher level Pokemon here, and hopefully doesn't get caught up by that Charizard, because that's going to be probably the primary target here. 220 to 179. Going to be a close game. This is game number 3, so winner decides will go on to the finals. Loser will go home a little bit early and have to play in the LCQ to try to make it back to that main event. Let's see if they can do or not. Big Solar Break comes through. Woodhammer's going to start pushing things around, but both teams playing it a little bit safe here and sitting in their respective bushes as the Hyper Voice comes through. I think an eject forward with the Crustle, but Crustle not with enough assistance yet. Charizard Seismic Slam comes through. Phantom Force comes as well. Charizard trying to find some pickoffs, but not finding enough damage here, and the Unite moves has already worn down. Everyone was delayed because they didn't have those Unite moves. Blissey, Trevenant, and Crustle were all missing. Team engaged, then engaged as soon as the Crustle had theirs with the Rubble Rouser. Finally, that's a beautiful maneuver from the Leafeon to be able to drop down on the Charizard, but notice Pokemon still missing from both sides. Charizard and Blaziken still missing from the 3.
Both teams don't know exactly who's in the lead. You would expect it to be Ebao, but by how much they don't know for sure.
Yeah, you can see there's one more goal zone up, but the point differential is actually not that much. Charizard and Blazing coming back into the fight at the same exact time, but this is going to be approaching the 40-second mark. You can see Team Engage starting to rip down this Rayquaza here, but meanwhile, this is Cerulean and Trevenant in the pits taking the fight as well. Blaziken has that strong secure, but can they get the secure off? And it's going to be going over to the side of Team Engage. A big secure from Apple, and that Blaziken been doing so much work all game long, and it is going to pay off. Kramer and getting 100 points, but a counter score from Ebao getting 100 points from the Trevenant is going to be huge. Another 100 points does go down though from the Blaziken, just a little too late from Ebao. They don't even have enough points here, but also they don't have the Rayquaza shields, and the defense is going to be strong on the side of Team Engage. And it looks like Engage is going to be the team moving forward to the finals.
Oh, mighty close in the end there, and it did just come down to having those shields to be able to score faster. But Team Engage will be pushing on through to the finals. They will face off against BH3. Again, two teams that have been here many a time before and are near enough expected main event teams. But alas, only one of them will be able to push through today. Ebao as well will be able to go away, lick their wounds, and come back Saturday looking to qualify for Sunday. But they've got to hold their heads high. They know this was a good game and against very tough opponents.
Yeah, and I mean, 9 Apple, 85k damage. I mean, no surprise that's the top damage here. I mean, the highest level in the game as well. And a big Rayquaza secure, a good decent amount of secures as well throughout the rest of the game too. But hey, another reason that ban out that Blaziken if you can. And you know, when you let us sneak through after banning those double supports, this is what happens. But yeah, what a fantastic showing from both teams here in a close 3-game series. Team Engage though going to take the victory, and we'll move on to the finals. I mean, we've had incredible games here today, Bacon. 2 game 3s already. Can we make it 3 game 3s in that final?
I don't know. I hope so. But one thing I also hope, that was the closest I've been to seeing the belief in Charizard, right? What is it? The Fire Punch, Fire Blast combo? That to me has been the closest, but Ebao couldn't win with it. We'll have to see. Will Charizard finally get their win in the finals? We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, folks. We're moving on into the finals, and well, it's BH3 versus Engage again. Two teams that got picked up somewhat recently by orgs, and well, looking to really rep their names on the bigger stage. Elite Tour, $500 on the line. That's a pretty good stage, don't you think so, Caleb?
Yeah, definitely. And, and just the glory in the competition as well to win it. I mean, these players that are here are competitors at heart. Even if there was no money online, they still want to win this tournament because they're not going to throw these games, especially making it this far too. So very excited to see BH3 Esport versus Team Engage. We haven't seen any BH3 yet today, as they were, kind of duking it out off stream. But we did see a Team Engage in exciting best of 3 just now, and then we're heading down to one more best of 3. It's single elimination. There's no bracket reset. This is all or nothing. Winning team, like you said, makes it over to that main event on this upcoming Sunday, and a chance for that cash prize money.
Yeah, and of course, losing teams, they're not out of all their chances just yet. Saturday, with that double elim bracket, we'll be able to, well, find 4 teams to push through. So a lot of chances still left in this one. Sorry, the dog is getting a little bit stressy for some reason, so give him a belly rub whilst we get into this one. I'm intrigued because BH3 had been just mainstays back when they were Cinco Golemo in the Elite Tour. Team Engage, a sort of, let's say, new name, but a lot of these players have also made it through to Elite Tour in the past. Let's say May, making it to top 8. They want to push forward into that top 4 position, get into the prize money. Of course, first place goes home with $250, second place $125, and then third/4th, because it's the single elim playoff, go home with $62.50 each. So a lot of money to just be handing out there, and I'm sure the players want to get a piece of it.
Definitely. And here we go. We are going into that ban phase to kick things off. BH3 with that first pick, as well as that first ban. They're going to ban away Hoopa right off the bat. We did see a Hoopa ban actually in our last game as well. But a lot of times people are opting not to ban the Hoopa, going for some of those defender and carry picks instead. We do see the Blaziken getting banned out from Team Engage. They don't want that to be a first pick on the side of BH3, because we saw how strong Apple was on that Blaziken last game. We get the Slowbro ban from BH3. I think Slowbro's been banned every single game so far, so definitely don't want that slow beam on anything. And Team Engage saying no ban on the second one. Maybe forgot the timer. I don't know, but maybe that's the true flex here, saying they only need 1 ban to get the job done. But that does leave an extra pick on the table here. Maybe kind of forcing BH3's hand here and saying, well, Umbreon's on the table. We might as well pick it up here for our first pick. But that second and third pick is pretty strong. Oh, actually pivoting over to Sylveon at the last second. Interesting, too. I mean, Sylveon's strong, but I don't know if it takes as much priority as that Umbreon. That means that Team Engage gets the Umbreon and the Ceruledge potentially. Ceruledge is going to be locked in for sure here, and it's going to be that Umbreon as well. So a nice little pickup from Team Engage. I mean, if they ban out the Umbreon, they don't even get this Umbreon. So kind of working out for them, even though they didn't ban anything at all.
It definitely felt like it was a choice, right? To leave that there purely because that would normally be the Umbreon spot for bans, maybe where Hooper is, but that also leaves Leafeon on the table. Are Team Engage going to run a Leafeon and the Ceruledge combo? That could be mighty powerful. BH3 then choosing, okay, we need the strongest support here. So they've basically got the whole sort of core of their squad, BH3, and they're leaving their last 2 picks to be whatever they can to counter what Team Engage is throwing at them.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by the Crustle pick early. I don't think the Crustle pick would have been on Team Engage's radar, but maybe would have been, because they do pick up that second defender in Snorlax. But I was just looking at them hovering that Cranmer for a second. Cranmer has looked really strong in today's tournament so far. We get the Charizard yet again. I think the thing with Charizard is consistent damage. It's not completely overpowered, which is why it's not really seeing a lot of it's not really getting banned out in a lot of these matches. But in the right hands, I think it could do enough damage. It just doesn't hit as hard as some of these other Pokemon, but it also has that consistent damage. We get a Serena pickup and a Zoroark. Definitely interesting from BH3. I mean, I'm a big Serena fan, as definitely one of the abusers of it when it was at its peak, but it still has a lot of 1v1 potential. I mean, if you could pretty much 1v1 most things on the side of Team Engagement. We actually get a Lola Ninetales final pick. Kind of surprising here, but a very interesting, team on both sides here, I gotta say.
The A9 is there, like, because you could see Charu's flicking between that and the Pikachu. That is for slows, as well as good long-range damage there. Now, the Serena is all about that Unite move. Pick someone up, push them down. Again, you could see that because they were hovering the Mimikyu. They're trying to look for that kind of role. It is removal. Get rid of that Cerulege if you can. I personally can see why you go for Serena just across, like, your picks like the A9 there with Charizard. The triple axle could even be Stomp, is quite nice, but I don't know, Mimikyu, it would have struggled to get into the back lines, and we know Trick Room Mimikyu just is not a thing at the moment for me. The Zoroark is the interesting one because it feels so squishy, and who knows, like maybe N just is incredibly cracked on the Zoroark, but right now it could be a little bit dangerous to run, especially when the opposite side is just so bulky.
Yeah, I know a lot of players that are big Zoroark fans who are a little disappointed about the recent nerfs, right? Getting rid of that invincibility, that iframe
Just
essentially when you're using that illusion too. So, and some players saying, "Hey, like you can't do this to us right before Worlds." Like I've been trying to run this Zoroark, but BH3 saying, you know what? Maybe we'll give it a shot and see how it goes here. Looks like Zorua is going to be going into that jungle side. Charcadet going into the jungle side of Team Engage here. And we got, some of the babies on both sides going into bomb side. Oh, Snorlax maybe going for a slight invade. Urkanda is making their way through here. And, Snorlax getting one of the best secures early game for sure. Let's see if they can pick up this blue buff or not. Sending this Zorua behind can definitely be troublesome. And this is the thing, right? When you're invading here, you could just A-press your opponent a little bit, and it looks like going to pick up that blue buff. And not only that, but doing so much damage to Zorua. You see a Gosport trying their best to help out. You get a Dwebble as well, helping out. All these baby Pokemon cannot stop this chef here, and Snorlax going to do what they can to just make their way back, but might be giving away that blue buff right back. Eject's over, but we got Greg on the Sylveon picking up that blue buff and that knockout on that Snorlax instead. However, this definitely sets this Zoroark behind quite a bit. Only level 4, not even Zoroark yet, as we approach the first set of birds.
The distraction, it might just work because the Charmeleon is also level 5, so that's a nice little wombo combo between the two of them. These birds all falling in favor of Dr. Gallo. That's where you want them to go. Apple looking to finish off the Altaria, whilst we get a stacking Umbreon. Those wishes are going to be dealing so much HP. It's phenomenal. This is why you run Umbreon with the stacking iron, purely because you want to get that heal as much as possible. Mix it with Mean Look, and you are perfect for utility and support.
Definitely, and trying to support that Charmeleon as best as they could, but Zoroark is online. Only level 5 though, but Zoroark can dish out some damage, and is going to pick out that knockout on Charmeleon, but does go down to the Cerulege as well. Cerulege already level 7, both buffs as well. Steenie trying to do what they can. Steenie just needs to get involved though. Definitely one of the weaker second stage evolutions. Serena's kind of a monster in themselves. The Sylveon is actually picking up quite a bit of knockouts already. Another knockout on the Snorlax, and definitely going to need some of this level advantage as much as it can, because the rest of the team is falling a little behind on experience. So level 7 already on the Sylveon. Zoroark just ticked into level 7 themselves, but you got that Cerulege already level 8 as they're setting up for another fight on top side. Looks like they're all going to start coming down to this bottom side and maybe going to go for eventually this Reggie objective. Zoroark hiding in the bush here. Leo just checks it as the Umbreon, no problem. And they are going to start fighting now. Meanlook's going to trap that Sylveon a bit, but not really going to do too much. And Umbreon and Snorlax go down. Both defenders getting picked off here by BH3 Esport. And now BH3 Esport has a very good setup for this Reggie steal. We have a Serena duking out with Charizard on top, so they're just going to do their thing. But a quick objective going over to the BH3 Zoroark, securing that for sure. So back and forth battles for sure, but Cerulege already level 9. However, BH3 does have that objective advantage, and we get Serena solo knockout on that Charizard. That's going to be a big pickup as Serena is getting closer and closer to her Unite move as well.
Yeah. And just from looking at that, the amount of HP that was covered, that to me looks like it's going to be a stomp Serena. So definitely, yeah, trying to deal tons of damage, looking for single targets as well. But if they can get in a group, that sustain would be mighty fierce.
Yeah, Milo trying to trap Serena for a little bit. Charizard Seismic Slam is going to come through, starting to burn some of the opponents down. Zork is already down, but the rest of Team BH3 is there trying to put up a fight. Serena just diving in here, picks off Cerulege, saying, I'm the better all-rounder. Queen Ascendant is going to pick up the Umbreon. Double knockout for Volto's Serena, and going to try to secure the objective. Zork is going to grab that for BH3, and now they're going for another fight here on this tier 1 gold zone. Snorlax goes down as well, super quick, even as a defender. 40 points in for that Serena. This Serena's getting huge quick, but does go down to the Cerulege, maybe getting a little overextended. They do break the tier 1 gold zone, but at what cost? They're about to get team wiped and get a ton of experience back to Team Engage. Sylveon trying to fend off the Charizard and does successfully take out the Charizard before going down.
I mean, you say at what cost? I think it's the perfect time to break that goal if you are going to just get team wiped. And you don't want to leave your opponents with something. Sure, there will be a little bit of extra farm for Team Engage, but it's now perfectly timed because they know they need to run down towards that bottom goal. The Charizard electing to take that farm, but that does mean they won't be involved in that bottom Reggie fight. Sylveon and Eldegoss looking to get that started. Here comes Zorak, but they're bringing a whole party with them.
Yeah, we see, you know, double supports. Actually, that tier 1 gold zone is going to be broken on that bottom side as well. So BH3 is going to be setting up well for this bottom Reggie fight. Serena's not there, though, and Zork is going to take out the Alolan Ninetales. Cerulege does take out the Zork just not able to stay alive in these fights long enough. Seismic Slam does come through. Sylveon was trapped in a mean look as well, just could not get out of there in time. They need the Serena to come down ASAP here to stand a chance. Unite move is down for that Charizard. It's a double stop. It takes out the Charizard and the Cerulege securing the objective as well on the Reggie. Bolto's going to ham right now, taking out the Umbreon and the Low Ninetales, make it a Penta potentially going for it, and no, going to be blocked off a little bit by Crustl's own wall there. So, you know, live to fight another day is going to be that Snorlax, but Voltor and the Serena is looking kind of scary right now.
Yeah, a little solo queue moment. You hate to see it, but nonetheless, the team did great damage, and Crustle will look to protect this bottom goal. Even letting the Umbreon get a little bit closer, just that Eldegoss can come in and support. They didn't get the score in the end, but BH3 do get that Reggie, like he send it, just wandering on its way towards that tier 2 goal.
And you can see Cerulege trying to go toe-to-toe with Serena, but that is not the Pokemon you can go toe-to-toe with. Another 50 points for this Serena and BH3. They're going to dump a few more points, 16 points, breaking that tier 2 goal zone, 311 to 85 with all 4 objectives going over to BH3 so far. Charizard trying to cap up 50 points, but going to be stopped here. We get 40 points from the Umbreon, but Charizard goes down yet again to Volto. Volto is just racking up the KOs here. Going to farm up some more. Finally does break that tier 1 gold zone on that bottom side. So point wise, there were a lot of overdunks on the side of BH3 because the gold zones don't look that bad as a difference, but the optimization on some of these scores is definitely going in favor of BH3, but also level 14 Serena double buff as well. This might be a level 15 Serena as we're coming close to that Rayquaza fight, and that's a scary level 15 Pokemon to deal with.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was actually Grassy Glide being ran by the Serena there. Interesting. Try and just value a little bit of shields. Oh, can they catch them out? No, that's a good get out of dodge. And Zoroark will be able to make it some safety. 5 seconds until Ray, and you can see already positioned. Engage. Don't want BH3 to get any position towards this pit.
Yeah, and you can see Serena just guarding that top goal zone, expecting maybe a back cap here. Cerulean a little bit might get pinched off here. Gonna have to be careful. There is a crossover waiting here, and Serena is just flanking from the top side. Cerulean really called out here. Let's see if Team Engage can catch Cerulean in the right position or not. And you can see Moonlight Prince is going to come through from Leo's Umbreon to try to buy some spacing from Cerulean. Cerulean does get out of there, no problem. Still full health. Both sides have pretty much full health, but Cerulean forced to spend a Unite move as well as the Umbreon. We still have the Unite move on that Serena, though, and Charizard. Those are two key ones to note for this team fight. Let's see what happens here. Charizard is going to get pushed back. Snowball's coming through as well. Cerulean is going to take out the Zoroark. Serena's still up and running, but can Serena do it by herself? It's pretty much just Serena and the Crustle. Serena's stuck in that mean look and finally does go down. 4 members still up from Team Engage. They're going to try run through this. Cerulean with a Quadra knockout. Can they get the Rayquaza as well? Does get the Rayquaza too. And going for the Crustle here. Can we make a Penta for the Cerulean? A little bit short on the timer there, but they gotta be mighty happy with that. Yeah, in our hearts for sure. Getting the Rayquaza, getting the points through, and somehow they overcome that massive Volto Serena. There's still a little time left, but I don't know. Points are kind of close, but that 100 points is going to make it quite tough here. See a lone Ninetales already posturing for that defense on that top side, and looking a little too late here. Leo getting a final 100 points to really put a statement point on the end. Serena, Queen Ascendant, just going to just bash around this Umbreon as much as they can, but they know it's over. And Team Engage finding a way in the final fight at that Rayquaza.
Oh, an A9 with the salt in the wound right at the end, an extra 74 to put Team Engage thoroughly in the lead. When I'm going to say, I think BH3 looked the stronger team throughout the majority of the game, but it was just that those final moments. Team Engage truly cooked at Ray.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough matchup too, right? You got a huge Serena. I mean, 10 knockouts by themselves here. No assists, just securing every knockout. They got all 4 objectives, both Regielekis and both bottom Regis too for BH3, and they were up in points. But Team Engage finding a way there. And look at that. It's Apple on the Charizard. 96k damage. We thought Serena was dishing out all the damage, but it wasn't Serena. It wasn't the Sylvan. It was actually the Charizard just burning away. I thought maybe it was the Cerulean. Cerulean had a Quadra knockout there in the end, but no, it was actually a Charizard just doing that sneaky damage all the way throughout, and just paid off.
So that's why you got to look at Cerulean and see it in the same kind of light as you see a speedster, right? Where it's not necessarily about the damage to speedsters, it is those KOs, which Cerulean got 9 of. And that's where I'm seeing Charizard is picking up that sustained, consistent damage roll, and that's absolutely fine. For me, in that game, the Zoroark just did not fit the team comp. It just did not get the job done they needed to. You could see the idea was to go in and get those KOs, but unfortunately it just didn't happen. That kind of role there is where you would want, you know, your Blaziken, and where they could have run, like we saw from NA, the Water Bear.
That's right. And, you know, I think we kind of solved the mystery here. Charizard definitely looking pretty strong in this patch. Maybe NA just didn't quite figure it out yet, but obviously when they played it, it was pretty much 24 hours after the patch was released. However, looking pretty strong in EU so far, especially in these finals, and hey, it was a strong pickup for them.
I don't know if strong is the right word, but it just looks like, for me personally, I would be running it as a backup to Sylveon. But it feels like you want it in your team purely for what it can do, whether it... And I truly believe now that the Fire Punch, Fire Blast combo is the better combo of the two, right? So that you've got a little bit of stun, then Area Denial. But it just feels like it's just a great all-rounder. No matter what, even if your Charizard has a bad game, it's still going to be a 6 out of 10. Which, having that baseline is valuable for squads to build around.
Definitely. I mean, and, you know, especially with that Seismic Slam as well. I think Charizard's one of those Pokemon where if you play their Unite move well, you can really maximize. But a poorly timed Unite move can be disastrous, right? Because you don't have that same consistent damage as maybe like a Sylvia or Inteleon, right? Just like poking away from range and just doing it. A lot of your damage is in your toolkit, is in that Unite move. So a well-placed Seismic Slam can do wonders for your team. And honestly, I think that's what Team Engage did. They played for the team fight, right? Because if they were going 1v1 against that Serena, it was not going to be a good time. That Serena came down from the top side all the way to the bottom side for that bottom Reggie and just cleaned house, right? Just going one after another on the side of Team Engage. But when it came down to the final team fight, they had to disengage for it, right? They had the mean look, they had the yawn Snorlax, they had a way to just isolate it. And that Serena was just 1v4 at a certain point, and it just couldn't do enough by themselves. So really great team fight from Team Engage. I thought it looked pretty disastrous when they had to spend the Ceruledge and the Umbreon Unite right off the bat just to get back into Rayquaza pit to start the fight, but down 2 Unites, they still made it work.
But again, like we were saying earlier, these niche picks like Serena in the right hands, in the right situation, do have power to them. And I feel like Serena just didn't necessarily have a counter in that game. You could argue something like a Ceruledge if they can cut through, or just 2 Pokemon stacking up from either sides, one coming in brawling, one from range, would have really helped, because as long as you can kite Serena, you can near enough just get the better of them. But it was a super interesting game, because I think both 2 teams are utilizing this tournament to figure out what the current meta is. Like, they're not 100% on it yet, and they're trying to transfer some of the old, but there is experimentation there, which is so fun for us as viewers.
Definitely. And, I think I agree with you completely. Like, there wasn't really a true counter to Serena. So Team Engage just tag teamed it a little bit and just, just teamed up on her to kind of find a way to take her out. And, once she was out of the picture, it was lights out for BH3 Esport. But we're going to game number 2 here. Looks like Team Engage is going to have the first pick. So looking like a lot of teams opting for that second pick if they can. We get the Slowbro ban, we get the Blaziken ban, and we get followed up by Charizard and Hoopa bans as well. I think that's a solid strategy. I don't know if Team Engage really wanted to pick up a Charizard first pick, right? So that's why they just decided to ban it. Maybe not worth it. They actually pick up Ceruledge first pick too. And I think this is the first time maybe we're seeing Team Engage run the Ceruledge, if I'm not mistaken. But we get a counter
pick. They just ran it in the last game, right? Because we swapped sides.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, they did. Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, so I stand corrected. So yes, this Ceruledge did come in favorably for them. We do get the Leafeon and the Trevenant pickups on the side of BH3 Esports. Umbreon played very favorably for Team Engage last game, and I like this pickup again. I mean, that Umbreon Snorlax combo was so strong for them too, because they had so much tanky front line, but also so much disengage and just CC as well on their side with the mean look, with the yawn, just slowing opponents down too. There were a time where I saw Serena going after both of them, and they just mean looks yawned the Serena. They just booked it. They're like, we're out of here. We're not going to give up any more of our lives here against the Serena. But it worked out pretty well for them. We pick up the Sylveon and the Clefable here for BH3 Esport.
So near enough looking to stick to not necessarily a brawl comp, but a bull comp, really cluster up together. Engage. Their idea with the Umbreon and the Eldegoss was near enough to force that, and BH3 then have to pick a support. They can't just go for a sustain comp. I'm liking these next 2 pickups. It's a very well-rounded team, very, very brawly. Ooh. Probably taking away a last pick option, that being the Metagross, from what BH3 would have wanted to play. This forces their hand a little bit. Do they go with another speedster? They want something that can get into the middle of fights. Shifu would be pretty good here, but they could then also run something a little bit more long range. They'd be scared about that Ceruledge though, because it does function with its Phantom Force like a speedster in many ways. So the Urshifu here is a good pick. Can it cut through the Metagross though?
Yeah, I like that final pick, and first time we're seeing Urshifu today in the tournament. So going to be interesting to see how that goes. But I like the combination of the Metagross and Delphox a lot too, right? Compute and Crush, lock them in, throwing that Fire Spin. They got nowhere to go, right? Or also, you could just throw the Fire Spin to set up the Compute and Crush as well as another option. But Chari on that Delphox is going to be feeling pretty good, hopefully, in this matchup because, I mean, you got to avoid the Leafeon, right? Because I think Leafeon's going to be trying to flank as much as possible. Outside of that, you kind of have a lot of room to maneuver and just dish out your damage from range. You got the Ceruledge, the Umbreon, and the Metagross just a front line for you and just distract a lot of that stuff. But yeah, like you said, Ceruledge, even though it's an all-rounder, operates a lot like a Speedster and might be trying to match some of that quick movement speed from that Leafeon to, you know, take out some of the squishier targets like the Sylveon in the backlines.
I think we need a Leafeon invade here. It will be a split central area between Sylveon and the Leafeon, and the idea just being that you try and slow down the Metagross as much as possible. I do expect it to be a Ceruledge, but you just then send the Leafeon to push through, maybe try and steal one of the buffs, and then go top. No?
Apples.
We're going for
okay.
an Urshifu center?
Yeah, it's going to be that Kufu in the center side, and it's actually not even going to be the Beldum in the center. It's going to be the Charcadet too. So really switching things up a little bit. A top lane Metagross going for some stacking here right off the bats, but everyone's kind of preparing for invades or just helping out. That there's really no one even in lane right now. Here we got the Gosport trying to secure some of these points, but going quite low here, and Eevee is going to get a full 11 points too, evolving to Sylveon pretty early. Leafeon, I should say. Sylveon did also evolve, but that was actually on that bottom path. Beldum dishing out a decent amount of damage by themselves, but does need to get evolved up as soon as possible. Ceruledge going to help out this top side, especially because, you know, you really wanted to get this Beldum evolved up as soon as possible. But a lot of pre-evolutions here, and we get the Metang ready for these birds. That's going to be a huge evolution. Eldegoss evolved as well. These are big evolutions for this fight. Just a small Clefairy, but Urshifu is here to play and is going to start brawling away. But Metang going to not be discouraged, going to continue pushing the agenda. Leafeon going quite low, actually. And Urshifu just dish out a few punches before going back for some healing. A lot of fighting just for one Baltoy here, but Urshifu trying to do Urshifu things. Getting chunked out quite a bit from that Ceruledge, though. Ceruledge really able to kind of slice back at that Urshifu.
Yeah, it is looking like it's going to be a water bear once again. So it is the chase down. And Metang earlier, when they were Beldum, did get a score in. So I'm wondering if this is looking to be a stack of Metang, and it just didn't really get what it wanted to nice and early on the bottom path. However, you know, it is just trades galore, and they're okay with that. They're just keeping each other at an arm's length.
Right, and here we have the birds spawning up, but they're ignoring the birds. They're going for the fight here. Looks like Leafeon is going to try to secure these objectives. Urshifu is going to take down Ceruledge. Double buffs going over to the side of Bolto, and this Urshifu is going to score 30 points here and make additional 5 points from the Clefable, but Urshifu quite low right now. Going to heal up a little bit. Meanwhile, there's a fight going on here. The Delphox does go down to the Leafeon. And then we have the Metang going down to Urshifu on that top side. So Urshifu really taking advantage of this matchup as much as they can. Meanwhile, Ceruledge trying to make something happen on this bottom side, but a little out-leveled here. Only level 6, trying to get to that level 7. Doesn't get it quite yet. Umbreon actually taking out the Leafeon. A little unexpected in that matchup, but picking up that level 7 finally on that Ceruledge. And Umbreon finally goes down to the Sylveon here. Both teams, you know, fighting it out for some of this experience. Definitely experience heavy, or definitely needs a lot of experience for these evolutions. But Urshifu just going ham on this top side. Another 2 knockouts, just living on that top tier goal zone so far, and still on full health there with the help of that Clefable.
Don't get me wrong, this is still early game as we transition into the mid game. This is when Urshifu is strong. As soon as that Metagross gets online another level, then he will have a problem. Delphox is also just turned to level 7. Ceruledge on 8, and they are looking to cause a few issues on this top goal. If they can destroy it and then push the Regieleki towards that second goal, BH3 won't be too happy.
Yeah, and this is where that fire spin Delphox starts coming in really handy. You can see just being a complete nuisance, stopping the Trevenant in their tracks as Trevenant is trying to get some push here, but just getting thrown around from the fire spin. You can see Char just trying to burn down this Regieleki as soon as possible. Looks like BH3 is not going to contest this, and looking like they're going to recall as well. So not even going to push their advantage. Maybe trying to just grab some of the farm. There's a lot of farm up on the map here. And you can see, like you said before, Leafeon just invading here and just grabbing a lot of this farm too. The mobility of this Leafeon is so fast. He tried to, little Shedinja doll actually avoid that damage here. I did not expect that. And Metagross taking up the knockout on the Leafeon. This is big. Metagross with both buffs, level 10 now, and is looking to fight.
I love that. Shedinja doll is a super unutilized item that you can bring into battles, especially with the Unite moves where you're going left, right, and center. There is the Revenant Rend from boy in blue, or maybe purple. We never understand colors in Pokemon Unite. But it's a Roulage dish now damage alongside the Delphox, and they've claimed this bottom tier 1 goal. But Urshifu just suddenly turned up. The Water Bear is online, and they are looking to clean up.
And Urshifu just doing Urshifu things, just saying, you know what, I'll face you all by myself if I have to. And you can see Voltor just chasing down that Eldegoss, going to take it out here. Level 12 on Urshifu already, 2 levels higher than everyone, at least everyone on side engaged, 3 levels higher than that Umbreon and Eldegoss. I mean, that's Voltor on the Urshifu. So saying, you know what, if I can't, I'm not going to play Serene this time. I'm going to play something that just actually got buffed, and it's going to be that Urshifu definitely playing to their style. Metagross, meanwhile, trying to score some points on that top side, but you got the Leafeon on top of them right now. A lot of members of H3 Esport heading over to that central area. You can see Urshifu just taking out the Metagross. Actually going to be the Leafeon that does it instead. Doubled KOs for that Leafeon. Leafeon just running around here. Pretty low on HP right now, but going to be healed up a little bit from this Clefable here. Umbreon coming down, trying to take out this Urshifu, at least scare it off a little bit. Could definitely tank some of those punches better than the rest of the team here, as looks like teams are setting up for this Regieleki. I think that Sylveon's working on a bottom Reggie right now. We're trying to get some of the objectives. Phantom Force comes through here, but not utilized a ton because there's not a lot of damage falling through. You see Trevenant just trying to do what they can to survive here. Urshifu's coming in here. Voltor's going to start going off here. Flowing Fist is coming through, and Undershift Ninja Doll yet again saving Chari's Delphox. I love the utility, and now they're turning on the Urshifu. Urshifu goes down. 5 members of Team Engage are fighting together. You got members of BH3 Esport just farming at this point, capping points on the bottom side. They're ahead on points, but that was a big fight for Team Engage as they're trying to catch up on levels.
That's it, and now it forces BH3, probably a Trevenant, Leafeon, even throwing the Clefable up there, and the Urshifu. 3 members of Leafeon has backed out, but that means the Urshifu now has to deal alongside this Clefable with the Regieleki. It's a little bit of lost time. Team Engage, as a result, have pivoted towards this bottom goal. The Metagross does get 34 through. This is going to be a brilliant 38 overdunk. Really closes up the numbers.
Wow, Team Engage's playstyle just so fun to watch, right? They're behind on levels, they're behind on points. Saying, you know what, we're gonna 5-man everything. We're gonna dive them in their base, and they can't beat us. Even if this Urshifu is 2 levels higher than us, they can't beat us 1v5, and we're gonna take the fight to them all the way. They're still behind on levels, so surprisingly, I actually thought they would be caught up by now. But BH3 Esport actually really doing a great job of farming, and still 2 levels ahead on both the Leafeon and Urshifu. That's scary stuff. But Team Engage, you can't count them out. I mean, if they know anything, they know team fight. And they got a level 13 Ceruledge and Delphox right now. Trying to get that Metagross into 13 as much as possible. Might take into it or might just have foregone it at this point. You're going to pick up those levels in this team fight. But you can see the Fire Spin already starting to chunk away on the health bars here. Clefable doing their best to heal up the team.
Leafeon back at base is going to cover the back cap. Urshifu covering it as well, going through the top side. Are they both going for back caps here? Super wild decision from the teams. Leafeon does indeed go for the back cap. It's not going to be a full hundo burger, but instead didn't even get to see what it was. The rest of the fight in this central area blows both ways. Metagross does take down the Sylveon. Now they'll push to the Delphox. That's a good rebuttal, but still no massive foothold gained yet.
And we see the flowing fist come through, but Metagross will not go down. And you can see Team Engage just staying grouped together, 4 people apiece. Clefable finally goes down. That goes a lot of healing. Leafeon goes down as well. That's a lot of that damage. And it's going to be that Urshifu, though, versus the Metagross 1v1 here. Delphox and Sylveon trying to hang in there. And this is just a fight of the 2 brawlers. But we see Sylveon just pushing back Apple a little bit. They need this objective, though. BH3 Esport does not, especially after the back caps. And we got 40 seconds here. Can we force a game number 3, BH3 Esport, or are they going to close it out here? Metagross finally goes down, taking a lot of that damage from that Rayquaza and just chipping it down enough. Now you got to have BH3 come in here. Cerulege, can you secure the objective? It does get secured by Cerulege. Can you make the scores happen? It's a real question. You got Clefable on your tail. 100 points going to be coming through on the top side, but Volto and the Urshifu getting 100 of their own there. Sylveon getting 100 as well, matching the points, saying, you know what? It's all good if you get Rayquaza. We're still going to a game number 3 here, and it looks like BH3 is going to hold off. No Rayquaza needed, and Cerulege is not enough to carry the team of Team Engage, and Bacon yet again. Game number 3 here in this Elite Tour, Unite Hub, EU, number 2 qualifier. These teams want to go to the main event, and they're going to fight their way to it. BSG takes the win here, and wow, what a series so far. And we have an exciting Game 3, a pivotal Game 3 upon us.
Coming in clutch, just by getting enough KOs, a couple of knockouts. They then had the number advantage to run it to the goal. They only had 50 points roughly as an advantage going into that last Ray fight. But as we see it, yeah, Urshifu is viable, folks. Metagross is looking mighty strong. And of course, the rest of the Pokemon you don't really need to mention because we already knew what they could do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Apple played a fantastic Metagross in my opinion too, but maybe getting a little chipped down too much from their Quace in the end. It just, their hands were forced, right? Because BSG were up in points. But I thought the Metagross pick was really smart by them. Just having something else that could go toe-to-toe with that Urshifu. And Volto, man, playing a fantastic Urshifu. I'm surprised they didn't play Urshifu that first game too, because it just looked like a better Serena for them in these team fights. But BH3, having a lockdown on that, and you know, the quick decision making, right? You know what? Grab the Rayquaza. We're going to counter score right away. We know we're ahead on points. We just need to mash the points there to force this game number 3. And man, we've had some exciting fights today, and we have one final game left.
We also have one final break left because we do need to throw to it to get game 3 set up. Run a couple of ads. It won't be long, folks. On the opposite side, we'll have the decider. See you there.
All right, welcome back to the Unite Battle Hub Elite Tour EU Edition qualifier number 2, final qualifier before the LCQ. And we've had a banger of a day in tournaments. We've had game 3 after game 3, and now we are approaching the final game 3. In the final game, we are in the finals, BH3 Esport versus Team Engage, and it all comes down to this, Bacon. I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, every other match has gone, well, just straight 2-0s, apart from the ones on stream, because we picked the best for stream, folks. Don't you worry about it. So, decided match, sudden death in some ways. You know, you win this one, you are through to Sunday, through to the main event. Lose this, and well, you got to turn up on Saturday and go through the whole rigmarole once again. And once again, we're seeing both Hooper and Blaziken banned, but this is the first time that Charizard could go under the hammer. People have been letting it slide for, well, it's not been that long, really.
Yeah, for sure. We do see Charizard being banned up here. I think maybe the second time it's been banned today on the broadcast. We see the Cerulege getting banned out as well. So a lot of the all-rounders being banned up here, plus that Hoopa, which means Slowbro finally out of moratorium a little bit, finally gets a little bit of place to shine, and right off the bat, BH3 is going to pick it up as their first pick. We get Sylveon picked up as that second pick. Maybe an Eldegoss here. I mean, it's a solid, secondary, support Pokemon, especially after that Hoopa. But no, going for the double evolution Umbreon. I like this pickup as well, too. Would be a strong pickup. You don't really want to see the Umbreon and the Slowbro on the same team here. Both are hovering that Leafeon. Leafeon's been looking pretty strong overall. And we actually get the Chandelure. First time we've seen Chandelure today, too, in today's tournament. But some of that long-range poke damage could be pretty strong.
Yeah, Slowbro's kind of in the weird case because, what is it, Scorching Waves, so way back at the start of May, end of April, both Slackoff and Surf alongside Scald actually all got buffs. So it didn't really see that much of an increase. It's now being banned purely because of what is going up against Slowbro is so good at. So it's kind of had that, like, by response of other Pokemon getting buffs, it itself has been buffed, and I am loving these comps already. Greg bringing out the Chandelure is strong, but N on the Garchomp, we're cooking.
That is wild. To guard Chomp with a Blissey combination, that is scary in your face kind of damage. We're going to see how that goes. And then we got Apple on the Lucario here as that final pick. This is going to be interesting. You know, we had Voltor pretty much being on those bruiser picks of the Serena and the Urshifu, but this time around going for more in the speedster assassin types of that Voltor, but on that Leafeon, I should say. But high mobility is going to be going for a lot of those targets. But similarly, you got that on the Mimikyu. And let's see what's Lucario going. I mean, ESP Lucario, tale as old as time. But that Garchomp going to really be the X factor here, I think, going to his final game.
Greg and Volto, the Chandelure and the Leafeon are going to be top targets for Dr. Gallo on that Mimikyu. But it is not an easy job. Garchomp is going to take a while to get online, level 9, remember, but its rip is wild. And actually, still, whilst it's a Gibble, it is not that bad. It is just the goodbye middle stage where it kind of struggles. You know, we see that for a lot of these level 9 Evo Pokemon, but on this opposite end, like Team Engage are kind of just... I don't know, like, do they have what it takes to take down just the full force that BH3 are throwing at them? BH3 are just throwing all caution to the wind and are just going to come out of the gates absolutely kicking, it feels like.
Yeah, they're going kind of all eggs in their basket in a way in that Garchomp. I mean, they do have that Leafeon for some extra damage on the back end, but that Garchomp is scary if it gets online. Team Engage kind of playing more safer picks here overall. We do have that Lucario though, and could be pretty good in the right position too. I mean, Lucario very skill based, but like you said, Gibble's pretty scary early on too. I've lost to plenty of Gibbles in that early level fights. I'm like, what is going on? I thought this thing was weak. But it actually could definitely pack a punch even in the early stages here. We see Apple on that Lucario going to be grabbing some of that farm here. But it's actually going to be that Eevee that's going to be stacking on Leo's side here. Lucario just going for the farm on their own side. We have Mimikyu in the jungle. Leafeon, Volto already going for an early invade. But maybe not the easiest target to evade in that Mimikyu. It's not like it has to get evolved or not. Let's see if this Leafeon can get it or not. And looks like Leafeon was able to secure the red buff, double red buff. Leafeon can't really double up on the red buff, but at least stealing it from the Mimikyu.
A pivot around as well to come up towards this top path. Gibble did go back for a Boltoy and is looking to take the top one. No, doesn't have the time for it. It's only 3 seconds until the birds drop. It's going to be a 3v3. No 4-5 Pokemon pushes here. But that is wild from the Mimikyu. Jumps in, gets the perfect target, does lose half its health, but can just walk away absolutely grinning.
Yeah, it looks like Leo might be caught up, but no, incredible mean look, locking down Voltorb. Almost got a little greedy for the Boucher, but say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'll give it over to them. But a great fight so far from Team Engage on the top side. And that's the thing, right? Gibble not evolved yet. You got the Chansey not evolved yet, too. Meanwhile, you got an Umbreon and Lucario and Mimikyu ready to go. And obviously, they're going to take the advantage here. Ejecting out there, Voltorb is, but you still might get mean look, even if you spend the eject. And it's going to be the Sylveon on Chari taking out that Leafeon. So Team Engage actually responding quite well. They had to play their strengths, right? Their early game is much stronger than BH3. They need to snowball as fast as they can before this Garchomp gets too far ahead. So far, though, level-wise, kind of similar on both ends.
I was going to say, whilst they might feel like Engagers win this all, they're not actually getting enough of a lead. It is scary right now. Another level 1 Blissey and Slowbro, and they will be fully online with all the moves they want. You got to look towards your Chandelure, your Goodbye. They could be dealing some serious damage when it comes to the Reggie fights. And, well, Leafeon is already online. It's going to be a little bit of a problem. Leafeon trying to hump. Wait for it. Jumps onto the Crustle. Do they have enough to take down the Crustle? The eject button doesn't get him far enough away. And it's actually going to be Slowbro to finish him off.
Yeah, Busy going to try to zone off, but Sylveon saying, I'm getting a little greedy here, and the greed did not pay off, just dropping more Aeos energies for BH3 to stack on top. You can see Voltorb getting almost fully stacked right now here. Trying to grab all the points, a little disruption from the Crustle to stop some of those Aeos points being picked up, but already paying off pretty well. However, meanwhile, topside, Tier 1 Gold Zone already going down on the side of BH3 Esports. You see, yeah, by trying to farm up as much as they can. They get the Reggie Rock on Team Engage, and they get the Reggie Alecki. BH3 is going to go for a team fight here, but now they got a Reggie Alecki going onto their tier 2 gold zone with 3 members on the top side. BH3 looking great on this bottom side, but at what cost is this going to get them? Because now they're losing so much on the top side.
Yeah, it is dangerous right now. Both in Reggie Rock and Reggie Alecki for Engage means that they have really pushed the envelope. They finally start getting that level advantage, which they've needed. Better late than never. But have they overcooked it? Trying to stay too long. This Lucario needs to get out of dodge. Utilizing his Unite move. There's your power-up punch. And well, even into the close combat. Love it.
Yeah, so getting out of there just in time, but we got a level 10 Garchomp, and level 10 is the highest level on the other side as well, so this Garchomp is going to put in some work. However, tier 2 gold zone already down before the 5-minute mark on the side of BH3, which makes this next Reggie Alecki super uncomfortable for them. They have to contest it. Let's see if this Garchomp is able to do something here. Garchomp actually stealing a lot of the enemy jungle farm as well. 40 points trying to score on this top side. We'll probably get it as well. This Garchomp hasn't even seen any action yet. Just saying, you know what, I'm going to score some points. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? We need to win with points, not with team fights. But Garchomp is going to start flanking down from this top side. We'll try to pinch off this Umbreon and this Lucario. Look, Umbreon should be able to zone it off quite well. Looks like they're actually going to try to take the fight to Garchomp as they are moving forward. Actually, we got Crustle going over as well. Garchomp, Livid Outrage is going to come through, but stuck inside the Mean Look, able to negate a lot of that damage.
Perfectly executed from Team Engage to counter the Garchomp. There you go, Mimikyu is down. They're getting set up. Both teams know they need to fight for this Reggie Alecki. It takes priority right now. Big scary moment for BH3. But Team Engage have just lost 2 members. They do gain the Reggie Alecki. Leaving Lucario focused on that was the right idea, and it just allows them to breathe. You would expect the Mimikyu and the Umbreon now to run it towards his bottom goal, but instead they're going to push the envelope even further. They want to run the Reggie Alecki in.
Yeah, and it looks like this Reggie is pushing pretty far down. BSU doesn't want to step too far away from their central goal zone in case they get picked off, and it gets even worse because they're outnumbered. But it looks like Team Engage is actually not going to push that Reggie Alecki. Just let the Garchomp hold it. I like this. Separate the Garchomp from the fight, right? And just isolate them so that the rest of the team can just push this bottom tier goal zone. There's that bottom Reggie objective spawning as has already spawned as well. You got Leafy on the top side as well. That's a lot of their damage missing from this fight. BH3 caught in a rock in a hard place right now. It looks like the Miluk is going to trap the Slowbro. Slowbro can't even get closer to this Red Ice. Great zoning. Slowbro does surf in there too. I think a slowing on the Lucario, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing else in the Red Ice, and it just stops the Slowbro from securing it as well. 2 knockouts on the Sylveon, and you got Mimikyu hopping on top of the Garchomp. So Garchomp looking completely neutralized so far. You got the Crustle even picking up the berries on side of BH3 Esport. Everything going over to the side of Team Engage so far, and they're looking for more. Voltor's running for their lives here as the Lucario is in their face.
3 minutes left, realistically. 1 minute until the big decider of Ray Engage, still with the level leads. But BH3 have kept it close enough. They are within a stone's throw, and all it takes is one big pick. You're looking at Engage. What is that pick? Umbreon, maybe Lucario, Mimikyu. That's what they need to be looking for here and to remove. But Reggie Alecki is first. If Engage can get this, that would be a massive blow to BH3.
Here we go. Garchomp goes in. Ed's going to try to get a pick off on this Lucario. Not quite. Actually goes quite low on health right now. Does not want to pop that Unite right now because we're at the 2-minute 30-second mark. And this is huge for Team Engage. They kind of stalled this Reggie Alecki. Now they're going to rip it. And they're about to put BH3 in a really tough position. They either had to defend the Reggie Alecki or they had to defend the Rayquaza. This is a really tough situation because they can't give either of them up. And Garchomp goes down as well. Now they have to defend this Reggie Alecki, and Team Engage can go for the entire rip on this Rayquaza if they want to. They have the Aura Cannon on the Lucario, one of the best secures in the game too. One of the old school secures. You can see Slowbro holding down the Reggie Alecki. You can't let it go in. Garchomp helping out as well. Meanwhile, Team Engage going to rip down this Rayquaza as fast as it can. Do we get the Aura Cannon coming out? And it does secure the Rayquaza. Team Engage also picks off the Chandelier. 3 down on the side of BH3 Esports, and things are crumbling for them as we head into the final 1 minute 30-second mark. Garchomp trying to do what they can, but all the points are running through. Overdunk as well. Live in Outrage, not enough to stop them. And Team Engage is getting so many points ahead, over 500 points difference, and they're looking for more.
I don't know, maybe it might be the copium, but there's still 1 minute 20 left. How do BH3 respond here from inside their own goal? They've taken down the Umbreon. Can they get another pick? That is the cross all gone. Trying to destroy all the shields, but Leafeon's a massive loss for them. More goals coming through. What were 12 from Lucario, 38 from the Sylveon. It looks like it's too out of reach, and they do get picked onto the Chandelure as well. Engage have got this in the bag. They are looking comfy. Garchomp with 50, just hanging over a goal saying, yep, I'm here, I could score, but I know I can't score.
Yeah, a little friendly exchange there, a little dancing at this point. What more can you do? Look at that top right-hand side. Every objective going over to the side of Team Engage. And here, you know what? A little friendly engagement here, and saying, all right, this is about it. You know, it was a fun duke it out here. Garchomp actually slicing through here, but just going to give some points, give some damage over to Garchomp, give him something here this game, because they didn't really get much.
How big is that shield on Crossing? Jeez, Rubble Rouser is crazy, but also, like, Garchomp does so much damage with his basic A. It's brilliant. Weird finish nonetheless, but Engage playing the Reggie game, purely going for a score comp in this day and age, you know, removing tier 1 and tier goal by, was it even the first Reggie Alecki, and just sending it on his way. Crazy.
Yeah, that was like a hybrid score comp and team fight comp. You know, they said, we'll take the fight and the points with us. I mean, we talked about it too, right? You need to get this going with a more early game team. You need a snowball ahead. And it looked a little scary at first, but they found their footing, and it really paid off. I mean, you can see the damage charts, not even that different overall. But Team Engage just grabbing every objective, grabbing all the points, and that crucial final fight there, getting that Regieleki was pivotal, because it stopped BH3 from being able to actually engage in the Rayquaza as a full team. They were just down members. I mean, they were just scattered. What can you do, right? You can't let the Regieleki go. You can't let the Rayquaza go. So they kind of split their attention, and they just gave up both. Actually, they didn't give it the Regieleki, but they did give it the Rayquaza, and they got the points too because of this.
Well, it's also because Engage focused on keeping the Chandelure and Gibble down at the very start. It wasn't massively, but made sure to keep them a level, 2 levels behind. And then come the mid game, they were like, okay, now it's Leafeon is our focus, because you need to make sure that you get the very, well, speedy, I don't know, dog. What even is an Eevee at the end of it? Doesn't matter. Still focusing on them. The squishy target, remove their damage, and then they focus onto the Chandelure. Even the Umbreon at stages, but Umbreon did feel a little bit too difficult for them to be able to pull apart. Nonetheless, Engage, I think, of course, a massive upset, because most people would be thinking BH3 should be going on and qualifying through today, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and really well fought from Team Engage throughout, right? Even in the previous series that we casted, and, you know, just whole tournament, well-deserved win from them. But big shout out to BH3 as well, making a close one and going for that risk, right? I like the gamble there. We're gonna go for the Garchomp Blissey combination. We're gonna see what we can do. Just put all of our chips on the table, and just fell a little bit short in that mid game, and just kind of snowballed a little bit out of control after that. But you know, we've seen BHG plenty times in the past, and we're looking forward to seeing them hopefully be in that LCQ, make a final stand there. I mean, they made it pretty far there. I think top 4 finish is very doable for them.
Oh, should be. They have made it to top 4 in the main event before, twice actually, I think. So this is a well-experienced team, but Team Engage have earned their spot, the 4th spot. They'll be joining A3 and Snow, Fluffy Nemesis, and Dark E Kittens in the main event. We still have 4 more spots to find. It's a double elimination bracket on Saturday from noon ET, 9 a.m. sorry, PT, noon ET, 5 p.m. BST, 6 p.m. for the rest of Europe. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're signing up because, well, anything can happen in these crazy moments. Caleb, final thoughts for you, buddy, before we close out today?
Oh man, I want to see you play more Urshifu, right? I think it had a 100% win rate on broadcast, but not tapping into it as much. They loved some Charizard though, and it definitely looked, solid in some games for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But this patch is looking pretty fun overall, and excited to see more. But been a pleasure casting with you, Bacon, and it was a fun time. And congrats again to Team Engage.
It's been great fun. We've seen what EU and NA decide about this new patch and what angles they're taking, but come Saturday, they'll be thrown together, and then we'll get the finals on Sunday. Folks, take care. We'll see you on Saturday for even more Pokemon Unite action.